Go. All right, welcome back to Nerds by Screenlight. My name is Aaron.
My name is Vicki.
I'm Phil.
And I'm Zoe.
And this is episode 46.
Yay.
Yeah.
The legendary episode by Ghostbusters Mythology, where the podcast really hits its stride.
Say no pressure whatsoever.
Yeah, I know. Anxiety.
We're in our groove now, people.
Took us a bit, but we found it. Hopefully we'll stay in it and not swerve into a ditch again.
Swerve.
Yeah, swerve, whatever. So the conversation, the opening question for today is twofold. Number one, what character do you identify most? The movie we're talking about is Clueless from 1995.
Yes.
Which, if that doesn't make you feel old, well, it will. It's a long.
It will if you're in your 40s like Aaron and I are.
It's an old school one that I think today kids would call it a classic.
It is a classic.
Because
totally a
it's
classic.
no longer one of those avant-garde. It's a cult classic
Yeah.
as well. So the twofold question is, which character in Clueless do you identify with the most? And number two, the differences between high school in 1995 and today.
Very different.
So the character I identify most with is the teacher, because he is constantly the expression on his face. The expression on his face is constantly the audacity of his students. He just stares at them and going,
He's making a thank you speech because he has the most tardies.
right.
Yeah.
But I mean, he's not like a weakling. He just is like, what is happening right now? Who are you and why have you decided? Okay, all right, cool. You're still not going to get you're still not going to get that. So I identify with him the most. Vicki.
And it's twofold for me. I identify a little bit with Ty in terms of like kind of like being naive or like not being with the in crowd. Totally me in high school, even a little bit now. And in a way share because I keep this quiet from my students. But Aaron see the house I grew up with, and it was not as big as Cher's, but it was a big house. It was a very nice house, and my dad will compliment me until I blush. So like there's a scene with Dad where he's like not admitting there's any fault in Cher. That's about like my dad is for me. And so I really like Cher as a character. I think she's definitely entitled. She doesn't know it, and it comes up with me unfortunately sometimes. And Aaron's really good about calling me out on that. Being like, you can't say that. Here's why. I didn't mean it that way. You can't say that.
So to be very clear, I'm not like censoring my wife. If anybody out there's be like, "What? What's going on in this podcast?" This...
But there's like a scene between like Cher and the ex stepbrother, and
Right.
that is like,
Yeah.
that's like a fight, like a
Yeah.
real life fight that you're watching.
Cher
between
basically
us.
says, "I don't speak Mexican," and then the stepbrother goes, "She's from like
El Salvador,
Salvador.
a whole different country." He's like, well, everything's my fault, right? I was like, oh, well, that's our fight.
For all the
Like,
intelligence Cher has in this movie, there's those moments where you're just like, "There's pieces missing, girl," and oh my goodness. But
Yeah.
and I can kind of relate to that sometimes. It doesn't all connect.
I will say Clueless is a good title for this movie.
yeah. Well, it's funny because the clueless, the word clueless is used
Throughout.
at least 5 to 7 times in this
Yeah.
movie. And when the first time it said, they said, "Roll credits." There's the movie. We're good.
They said the thing.
They said the thing.
Yeah.
Phil, what character do you relate to?
I'm trying to think of his name. Is it Maury?
What does he do? What's his?
He is Turk in Scrubs.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, Murray. Yeah.
Yeah.
Murray.
Yeah, I love him.
Well, I'm gonna be incident in my pages.
Yeah, he's not on screen much, but anytime he does, and I love it too because he's just playing Turk. It's just Turk. Like it's like this dude plays.
With
one
He's a
character.
young Turk.
Yeah.
Basically, a young Turk.
Yeah, this guy just when he acts, he plays one character.
Well, and he's the one who
only.
figures out that the boy that Cher is chasing is not playing on her team.
Yeah, he knew.
He's the only one who's like, "Yeah, no, you're crazy. He's actually he's gay," and again, nothing wrong with that. But Cher is chasing him, and this boy like, "Oh, he's perfect. I love him. He loves me." And it's like, "Oh, girl, no."
I have feelings about that part. It's just like, how did you not know
Yeah,
this?
how did- Again, clueless.
Yes.
Roll credits.
For real.
But to be very honest, this is the tie me part. And when I watched this as a teenager, I didn't get it either. I was like, he is?
So when we'll get to it, but the scene where he is talking to the bartender, I was like, "Yep, that's him. That's what's going on." And Vicki was like, "Wow, that was fast." I was like, but again, we all understand the dynamic at play
True.
here, but Cher does not. Zoe, what character do you identify with?
Okay, so as my adult self,
Okay.
Miss Geist. Just because,
I
like,
can see that.
she tries so hard.
She does
yeah.
care about something outside of yourselves.
And then she finally gets has her little epiphany and helps her. So, like,
Yeah.
just those good moments of, like, when it finally clicks for your students. And
Yep, and her in the what's his bucket? The teacher get married.
yeah,
That's
they're so cute.
I was so it's been a while since I've watched this movie, so I had forgotten a lot of this, and so that one I was like, oh, that's kind of like really kind of cool. How they went full send into it. They
Yeah.
leaned into it. They didn't just let it be like a little thing that kind of. I was half expecting it to fall apart,
Right.
and for the real truth of what was going on to be. But no, it worked out. It was like,
Yeah.
all right, that's nice for a '90s movie or mid '90s.
So I have seen this movie before.
Okay.
I didn't think I did, but when I was watching it, I remembered like certain parts.
Yeah.
Mostly Brittany Murphy's outfits.
Yes.
I was like,
Fair.
when she came on, I was like, I have definitely seen this movie. And it was probably a recommendation from my mom, like, Brittany Murphy's in this movie, you should watch it. Like,
Yeah.
Aaron didn't recognize her at first.
No, she was 17 at the time.
I was like, Aaron, guess who that is? And you're like, I don't. Who?
She was the youngest member of the cast, I believe, at 17. And so she had, and Vicki had found this. She had to have a parent guardian on set at all times, as the
Good.
rules are in Hollywood movies.
They should be.
Yeah. So there's that. Okay, so now let's rotate to a more sometimes hilarious but also depressing / I'm not sure how to feel about it. So it's high school in the 90s, which was when I was in high school at the tail end of it.
Yeah,
So 99, 98, 99, and 01, whatever, to 01. Was so different from today. Number one, pagers.
Soda
Yeah.
at school.
Yeah, soda in schools. Like, yeah, she goes, oh, you guys want a Coke? Now, obviously, they wanted to market Coke, and that's how they got their ad in there. But yeah, she's like, oh, you want a Coke, like soda? Like, oh, okay, all right, that's weird. Because even when I was in high school, that was when they started removing. We had Fruitopia machines.
I remember those.
We had Fruitopia, and then but slowly but surely, like towards the tail end,
They got
yanked because the sugar in schools.
We
and
didn't
issues.
have it, period. So
Yeah.
I watched this as a teen, and I was like, oh, they have Coke?
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, it was legit. So yeah, there was that.
They
Also,
seem to just be able to go wherever they want.
yeah, they could do
Do
whatever.
it. They could like use face masks in class.
Yeah.
Bring out their cell phones in the middle of the hallway. Is that allowed today? Even
In the hall,
in the
yes.
hallway,
Not in class. They were on the phone in class.
Yeah. Yeah, nobody was paying attention. Everyone was doing whatever they want. Again, maybe the Clueless moniker is very much a thing there.
I do remember the pens with the puffies. I had those.
yeah, you can still find them.
I found them. I saw them on Amazon.
Aaron is crunching and munching.
Sorry. I apologize.
Aaron, they're gonna complain.
I know. It's only the once. I'll never do. I won't do it again for the rest of the podcast unless I get more hungry for my snacks, which are amazing. This podcast is not sponsored by Cheez-Its, Wheat Thins, and whatever else we got. We got fish stuff, but yeah, it's great. All right. Well, yeah. So high school was weird in the 90s. Like, well, for us it was normal.
Because that's what we knew.
Yeah.
But yeah, today it's all phones, it's all Wi-Fi, it's all Bluetooth, it's all like you see high
Using
school,
computers to complete assignments and things.
You see kids with their earbuds constantly. Which, if we were to do a scientific question or scientific study, I wonder the effect of kids having those earbuds or AirPods, as they're called for the iPhone users, the effect of having that in your ears all the time. Because, oh gosh, stand by.
Well, when I was in high school, I was one of those kids that always had earbuds in.
Yeah.
But those were with the cord.
Yeah, they weren't wireless.
So the headphones that we wear for the podcast, they're Tascam over the ears. And what a lot of audiologists and scientists and like people who are in medicine say, you should not have the ones that go in your ear canal because that actually damages your hearing when you're that young. If you play it at a large volume and consistently, you're actually doing damage to your long-term hearing.
I believe it.
Yeah, no, it's a thing. It's legit. So when I see kids with that, I'm like, oh, and our high school kids,
Oh, yeah.
they will blast it in their ears, they will pump it up and whatever, and I get what they're doing it for, but the long-term issue is that with over the ears, at least there's a little bit of a barrier where it's not as just
Drayton.
just basically beating your eardrums, and so there's a lot of concern that we're going to have a lot of kids and a lot of young adults who are going to have hearing issues after they graduate high school, go to college, and then start going to the workforce. Their hearing issues are going to be significant. You're going to have I predict you're going to have a lot of people like who are in their 40s
Oh, yeah.
who need hearing aids. I mean, one of our coworkers last year, he was what he was like 50-ish, and he needed hearing aids. Dude, like God love him, but he.
At least now you can get them over the counter.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
There is that.
Very
yeah,
expensive.
They're not as expensive. So yeah, that's a worry I have for this future generation is their hearing's gonna be messed up, and I have to I use these headphones only now. I have in the last 5 years or more, I have only used over the head earphones because I'm like I need my hearing.
It's important.
Yeah, I love my gaming headphones. Zoe actually got me some wireless ones, and I think I've used them twice.
Okay.
And I lost one of them. So.
Oh, geez.
Good job.
Well, the AirPods and the earpods, like when you because they're Bluetooth and they're so small, kids lose them. I'm like, I don't like those. Not cheap.
No, they're not.
They're expensive. I'm like these headphones we have on our ears. They were $20 on Amazon.
I love how Apple also like sells a device just
to
for
tracking them down.
Yeah, the air tags, which those are creepy also.
Yeah, because you can put them in cars. You can there is serious privacy concerns with that, which Apple is belatedly attempting to address. But that's the same thing. We're going off on a tech bent for a second, but the reason why I had an iPhone for 1 year. This was before airdropping and all the other stuff. But as far as I know, you can't stop somebody from airdropping something onto your phone.
I don't think so.
Nope.
And so you could be in a classroom, you could be in a public area, and all of a sudden you're getting airdropped something either illicit, illegal, or inappropriate, or you don't know where it's coming from, and there it is on your phone.
Yeah, there's been stories about people on planes receiving things that.
Yeah,
I mean, it's happened at our
Ooh.
school where
Yeah.
things were being sent that should not have been being sent.
And so that when I look at that, I go, as good as Apple tries to sell themselves, there is a lack of security and protection for people on their phones. Like I'm just like, what is wrong?
But you can be like on a subway, so anyone that has an iPhone is going to get what you sent. It's like,
Yeah.
what?
Yeah, it's badonkers. So there you go. So so we didn't have that issue in high school. We didn't have mobile phones. We had the beginnings of email. We didn't have school emails, but
We had the beginnings of mobile phones.
Yeah, I had the Nokia brick.
Okay, well
I got
so
it
yeah.
Explosion.
later in my high school years, and I think I had one, and my dad was like, we're going to treat it like a car phone.
Okay.
Which was good because I ended up getting in a minor car accident as a teenager, so I was able to call my dad. Yeah. So I'm really glad that he did that.
Well,
but in the beginning, this was like when I was had my license.
Okay. I never had a phone
Oh,
until I got out of high school and into college is when I think I got my first
that
phone.
was when I predominantly used mine. Was then.
So yeah, we talk about Bluetooth, we talk about Wi-Fi all the time. We didn't have Wi-Fi, Bluetooth didn't exist, none of this technology. So
Like we had the internets, but it was very different. It was
very
dial up
and
and
very slow. And not
AOL.
yeah. It is not fiber
and
optics. that we
Homestar
had to-
Runner.
Yeah, Homestar Runner. Teen Girl Squad. Oh.
And Ask Jeeves.
Oh my gosh, Ash Cheese. Okay, so here's something from the movie that
Oh,
was
yeah.
anachronistic.
Ash Cheese.
Is that when they get to the directions, they're trying to find their way. She's pulling out an atlas
I know. I was like, you have to watch this part.
Yeah.
because we even before that, before it was Google Maps, it was
MapQuest.
yeah MapQuest. Yeah, it
Yes.
was MapQuest, and that was the way you had to print out the directions.
Yes.
because
And it was
you-
amazing to have that because otherwise you were writing notes to your friends going, okay, at this gas station, turn right.
Literally.
At the
Like,
broken tree,
yeah.
the big rock.
Yep.
if you pass the creek, you've gone too far.
And now it's you have either Google Maps or you have Apple Maps, and you can find anywhere, you can get anywhere.
It's so fast.
Yeah,
I
it's-
remember when TomToms first started and I was excited.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
the GPS systems. And
I
now-
used that. It was, you know.
It's sad now that because Garmin has to come up with different ways to supplement their equipment.
Yeah.
Because everyone has a GPS. You don't need a Garmin. You know, and there's
It also reminds me of how my teachers in high school were always like, well, you're not going to just be having a calculator in your pocket. Well, I do.
yeah, I do now. And you can get the scientific calculator
Yeah.
on your phone as well.
Fancy.
It's crazy.
And math AI, apparently. So.
Yes. Well, and AI, writing AI. Like, there's a lot of organizations out there that are now starting to lean into using AI to write stuff. There is legitimate concerns about some of our online website news sites, like the less than reputable ones, or the ones that are kind of that they are starting to turn to AI to write news articles, and that's terrifying.
It
That
is
is
terrifying.
Because you talk about
And stereo,
and
everybody.
stereo, surround sound. You talk about having to verify stories or verify what you're being told. Well, if you have somebody, if the AI is writing it, You don't know if that's true. There's been some issues with AI on Google's side and others where you would ask it to give you an image of something and it would give you something based on a strict guideline that the AI set.
Yeah.
And so there was an issue there. There's also was an issue. A gentleman on Twitter, I honestly can't remember his name, but he was like, he said, write an article by this man, and it was his name, and it spewed out absolutely incorrect information, making allegations about articles he had written that were absolutely untrue. He had never written an article in any way, shape, or form that was titled or around that subject.
Yeah.
But because the AI was trustworthy, quote unquote, he was like, people are going to put my name into this, or people could put your name into this and create this whole profile that's absolutely false. And it takes time to take something like that and reverse search it. You got to reverse engineer. Okay, where is this article exist? Does it? And you have to that takes time. People don't want to take time.
Right.
People just want to be like, oh, well, that's correct. That's information. Running with it. It's like, no, so. We'll take another dovetail and then we'll get back. So Kate Middleton. So there was this whole brouhaha about her image that was manipulated, and people were cracking jokes and being like, "Oh, well, they need accountability." Blah, blah, blah. And I just sat there and I was like, I said, these people. It's going to come back. It's going to come back to bite them. There's something seriously wrong with Kate Middleton that we need to respect, and you need to just let it go. Yeah. So she has cancer now, and everybody was like, it was a collective.
It's so sobering for you because she's only 2 years older than I am.
Yeah. So there's a lot of conversation. We had this conversation on Friday. There's a lot of look, y'all get out of people's lives. Don't this is a very bad comparison, but it's the Will Smith and Jada Pinkett Smith situation where he was like, take her name out of your bleeping mouth.
Right.
Not that to that level of.
She didn't help the situation.
No, oh God, no. I am not excusing, but I'm saying we collectively, as a culture, we got to get slapped.
Yeah.
Because here's the thing: the world and the people in it, the people you should be worrying about and talking about and putting your focus on, is not them. It's you. You gotta worry about yourself. We tell our kids all the time: worry about yourself before you worry about others.
Yes.
Because you need to take care of your stuff and your stuff in house before you start trying to throw stones at glass houses or just start beating up other people. It's like,
Was that saying before you criticize the speck in someone else's eye, take the log out of your own?
Yes.
And you'd be surprised at how less stressed you will be if you're not worrying about everyone else around you.
So there you go. There's
just Cher's journey.
Yes.
She just
there we go. We got our segue.
You're welcome.
So when we come back here in just a moment, we are going to do a deep dive into Clueless, which is a classic 90s movie. It came
time capsule.
It is an absolute time capsule. So from 1995, we're gonna from 2024, we're gonna journey back to 1995 and dig into that. So stick with us. Grab your tea, grab your coffee, grab your wheat thins, and or whatever beverage or accoutrement food that you enjoy. I love that word, accoutrement.
I can tell.
It's my new favorite. I'll tell you why after the break, and you'll either love it or hate it. So we'll be back after this here on Nerds by Screenlight.
Get nerdy with me. Talk nerdy to me. Get nerdy with me. All I really need for you to do is just please.
I can stop.
Talk to me. Talk nerdy to me.
And all right, welcome back to Nerds by Screenlight. My name is Aaron.
My name's Vicki.
I'm Phil.
And I'm Zoe.
So the accoutrement, this is going to be a bit of a weird one, so just go with me on it.
Okay.
There's this thing called found film festivals where they find film and commercials and whatever from the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, where it's just these crazy things that who knew that this was actually made. So there was a guy who was a part of an RV commercial. And I can't remember his name, but they had collected his commercials and they would find him, and there was bloopers where he would lose his mind and be like, ah, rah, rah, rah. And one of them where he lost his mind was where the line was something about the accoutrements of an RV, and he was like, accoutrement, what is this? And he just went off. They found him and they did a documentary on him.
Okay.
And he is the craziest, most interesting fellow. I can't remember if it's called the RV whatever, but you can again Google the term the RV man advertisement documentary, you'll find it. But it became a thing where he got more. They found him. There's and he was in disbelief that people have been watching his commercials and analyzing and engaging with him. And he came to the film festival. He came to the premiere of his documentary. He got interviewed, and it was a whole thing. And I don't know where he is now, but it was just that whenever I think of that word accoutrement, I think of that documentary and that individual, the RV guy.
What is this word?
Yeah, what is this word? It's very French, obviously. Accoutrement. So there you go. Speaking of French words, no, that doesn't work. No, not a good segue.
No.
Terrible. Just took a side drive into a ditch. We'll pull ourselves out. So Clueless is our movie from 1995. And Phil, what did you call this? Did you call this a wild movie? Or what do you call this?
I called it a time capsule.
Time capsule. It is an absolute.
It is a wild movie.
Yeah, it's badonkadonks. We have Alicia Silverstone in what I would call her teen movie prime. It's an absolutely recognizable character. She is Cher.
Yes.
They would never, if they dared to redo this movie,
They can't.
They would.
They have to do her.
Yeah, she would have to be in it. There's no question about it. There would be possible metaphorical riots
Yes.
on in social media over that because it's just an absolute banger. So and again, I'm not really good at keeping. I didn't make any notes because I was terrible at making notes, but I did watch it. So we start off with her in her Jeep, correct?
Well, there's like this montage of her hanging out with her friends, going to the mall, and hanging out by the pool, and she makes this great joke about it.
She's using this computer program
To pick her,
pick her outfit.
Well, before that, she's talking about how like our life is like a commercial, for
Like-
something.
Yeah, but I'm actually like Vanoxima, which was a great throwback to like facial beauty products in the 90s. Noxema, Clear Sil, those were one of the few that you could use. There's so many more options now, but
I feel like I
remember
still
that.
use that actually.
Oh, okay.
I feel like I do because it's the only thing that's ever worked for me, like consistently.
Okay.
It's
Neutrogena is kind of my go-to as well. So I get it. You find something that works, just stick with
Yes.
it.
those brands, I think, were the originators back in the day.
Yeah.
Yes.
But to comparison, and we're probably going to do a lot of this in the show today, you think about it, there were not a lot of facial care products in the 90s.
No.
There was Neutrogena, there was that, Clearasil. Clearasil was the big one. Well, both were very
That's what
high.
I use.
The
But I remember the Noxema pads. I use those.
The commercials for
They were
Clearasil
strong.
were legit in the late 90s. Like, it was like, yeah, kill this good. It was like, wow, okay, they're aiming. They want to get the... But now you look at today, the amount of skincare products on the market,
gosh,
both
it's crazy.
in-store
It's overwhelming.
and online, is badonkadonks. It is absolutely, to borrow the word, wild. I look at it and I go, okay, so there's this, but then there's these 15, and then there's the other 20 over, like, whoa.
Then you have people that you would never expect to even have a skincare line, like Mudahar and Caleb Umpaville. Since he's with Chris, call me Chris. Now they have a skincare line.
Of course. Of course.
Like I could see Call Me Chris having a
Yes, I
skincare
could
line,
too.
but them two dudes, they're no.
They don't. Yeah.
Well, and that's so you talk about like the influencer age. There were no influencers in the 90s, late 90s, but now like you said, everyone has a product. You have Emma Chamberlain and her coffee, which I'm not sure if she's still doing Emma Chamberlain's coffee. Like that was a whole big thing for a while. You're right, yeah, skincare line. Oh, I've got my merch. Buy my merch.
Right.
Logan Paul and the other Paul.
Oh,
brother.
don't even.
Yeah.
The Pauls.
Yeah, Paul's. I just like
Jake's about to fight Mike Tyson, by the way.
It'll be interesting.
I want to watch it.
I wanna
don't
see him get
care
knocked out.
what happens. I just want to see it.
I just like I just can't. Like, but I mean, Mike Tyson has had a good renaissance. He's come back. Like, he's working on himself, I guess. But I look at that and go, this is the best we got. This is the pinnacle of sports entertainment that we. Okay, right, great, good, super. What a time to be alive. So.
Yeah.
Let's go back to 1995.
Yeah.
With the computer program that I still want it. It picks out your outfits and
then it
tells
showed
you
it
if you
on
match or you don't. And it would be amazing.
It would be.
And it says fashion mismatch.
Yes.
She's like,
Which I disagree with him. Like, it's a black skirt. It
Right.
goes. Very
Yeah.
strict program.
yeah.
Anyway.
But she finally finds what she needs to wear.
Yeah, and you see her being like a caretaker, like she's trying to take care of her dad and like make sure he gets his vitamin C. And
So the dad, remember,
Call your parents.
You remember the
Yeah.
dad? The dad was in Joe versus the volcano. He was the manager. Oh, he can do the job, but can he do that? Like, you know, that was that. And so I love that little connection. He's a great character actor. Whatever he's in, he's fantastic. But yeah, she's taking care of him. He drink your orange juice. Rah, 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 I don't want to do anything. And then,
and the maid's hiding from him.
She pointed that out to me, and I'm like, "What maid? I didn't even see her."
Oh my
That's because she ran away so
She
fast.
literally
It's like,
did.
whoa, Dad's coming.
I didn't like realize they had a maid until almost at the end of the movie.
yeah, where her and Cher actually do share some lines,
Yeah.
in the conversation.
I was like, "Oh, there's the maid."
Yeah, she's constantly running from the dad because she's afraid of him because he's a terrifying lawyer.
Corporate lawyer.
Corporate lawyer, which again, 90s, that was money. If you were a corporate lawyer, man, bring in making it rain. You had that money. So she gets in her Jeep and she drives to school.
Terribly.
Yeah.
Which we also learn later she only has her permit and
Yeah.
should not be driving alone.
Yeah.
Kids, do not try this.
Well, and so here's the funny part. She has tickets.
Yes, outstanding tickets.
They would. Okay, so this is a little, and maybe in the 90s this was a thing. I don't think it was. But in 2024, I've watched shows where like ride-alongs happen.
Yeah.
There's a show on YouTube called Fridays with Frank. It's the Pinal County Sheriff's Office in Arizona, and every Friday they upload an episode where he has interactions with the public that are important and whatever. And he has had numerous encounters with people who are either on their permit or don't have a license. And he says, "Do you have someone in the car or someone who can come drive this car?" No, it's gonna get towed. It's going to car jail, and you're not driving. Yeah. I don't know how. And again, maybe the late 90s, they were a little more lax, or maybe it was this is a plot
That's
hole.
Beverly Hills. I don't know.
There's a plot hole here where it just exists because it exists. But it's like, if a police officer pulls you over in your tricked out Jeep and you have a learner's permit, that police officer is going to go, "Dit, dit, dit, dit. Hello, Cher's dad, your daughter come pick up the car." Like,
Yeah.
he only finds out about the tickets after like halfway
It's
through
the third notice.
and she's like,
I never got the first notice.
He's like,
It's
"That's
a ticket.
Like,
Hello.
Again, Clueless. Roll credits. So she drives the wrong way on the road to school or something. I don't. It's
she knocks the plant off the curb. That came out of nowhere. That's terrifying. That to me, that's one of the scariest parts.
She's a terrible driver.
Yes.
She picks up her friend.
Yeah.
And
Who is also a terrible driver.
yeah.
Yes. Oh Lord.
The highway scene that's coming later.
Yeah.
Oh, it's
is
so funny.
fantastic.
Boyfriend screaming at her. Go straight. Go straight.
Move your hair, not the whole car.
That's me because like when I'm a passenger, like I'm always like slow down. Like I think I get it from my mom. My mom is a very nervous passenger.
Okay.
Like to the point where like she did not want to like help teach us to drive. So if I'm in the car with Zoe or her dad or something, I'm constantly like looking around like, watch out. Like,
Yeah.
stop, this person's going to hit you. Yeah.
You sound like a lot of fun as a passenger.
Well, that's not, I don't think am I annoying
Sometimes.
with it? Like,
Mainly on like highways, like the
yeah,
freeway.
I don't,
Yeah.
Don't
I
talk to
don't
me.
like, you
not a
know, in
fan.
Denver when you got like those
Yeah.
7 lanes.
Yeah.
I'm just,
Yeah, close your
eyes
eyes.
closed.
Yeah.
Eyes closed.
Oh, and then they'll like veer at the same time. And you're like,
Yes.
Yep.
So I don't like that, and I don't like mountain passes.
Okay.
Fair.
All right, that's fair.
Oh, they're fun.
They are. I enjoy like not aggressively, but driving assertively on those roads.
Yeah.
I'm like, the speed limit is 60. I'm going to go 60. I'm not going to go over because I'm not a speeder, but I'll drive my 60 and I'll
sometimes
make
he
sure.
gets excited. He'll take a curb really fast through a puddle, and I'll be like, oh, and I look up at here, and he's like,
Yeah.
I'm safe, but I know. I'm, you
And
know.
he has this little moments where the little kid comes out in him, and he's like,
Yeah,
I can
there's
see
not
that.
a lot of curves in Morgan County where
No.
I can drive on curves and do a little faster.
But if there is one, you'll take it.
Yeah, absolutely, for sure. It'll be fun at a speed and a safe distance and all that good stuff. So we get to high school, and
We meet
Jeez.
all the characters.
we meet all the characters.
Oh, they're all so fun.
Yeah,
Yeah. I love the little skateboard dude.
Yeah, Travis.
I was like, what movie is he in? And then I'm like,
Rat
realize he's
Race.
in everything.
yeah.
Yeah.
This is where I think he probably got one of his. A lot of actors got their start or really became their renaissance in this movie.
Totally.
But yeah, so what I like about this character. So let's talk about Travis for a second. Travis is portrayed as a weed smoking like
Slacker is what they call
slacker.
it.
and
Yeah,
he-
that's the word.
He hangs out with the slackers, but his character arc is really actually quite satisfying.
It is.
Yes.
And it's actually like it's not that he got in trouble or he got punished. It's that he realized, man, I don't want to be in a cloud anymore. And because we're kind of skipping around, but the defining scene for him is when he brings the stuff to donate, and he donates his drug
equipment.
apparatus, his equipment, his stuff, his former behaviors are donated.
Kitchenware.
But he talks about how he's like, oh yeah, I've been going to this group, and there's steps. And
There's like 12.
There's like 1, 2, and Cher kicks in. She goes, oh, 12 steps? And in that,
But she says it in like the nicest way
Yeah.
to not like put him on the spot.
but
It's very
I
sweet.
like how she treats him.
Yeah.
Because she's like, and it's interesting as a character, Cher is, there are some moments where she fails because she has to. She's not perfect, and no character should be perfect. You have to find ways to improve yourself. But she treats him with such care in that moment. And as an audience, it's an unusual, because normally how movies in the late 90s and in the 2000s would portray people who practiced that particular behavior is that they were just stoners, and they had the munchies, and it was played for laughs.
Right.
They don't play Travis for a lot of laughs here. I mean, he's
A
funny
little
in
bit, but
classroom, whatever, but it's not like the stereotype doesn't lean heavy.
Right.
And so they treat the character with respect, and like in the end, he finds his love. He finds the girl that he should have been with in the first place.
Yeah.
But he had to stop his habit to be clean, so then he could be with her, truly be with her in the way that he needed. Because she was looking at the crowd and being like, oh, like that's where she came from. My favorite line, she's like, oh, you guys got Coke here?
And Eric looks at me and said, "Did you know?" And I'm like, "Wait, really? I never thought about that." See, I'm Ty.
Yeah,
Still.
because she was talking about drugs in the first thing, and they didn't. I think she said something about something, and they're like, "Oh,
Herbals and something.
yeah,
And they're like,
herbal
"Oh,
remedies."
We don't have tea.
And we don't. Yeah, we have tea,
Like,
and
I
they
think it
didn't
might be
pick up on
something
it, and they still don't pick on it with the Coke line. But at that point, I'm like, "Oh, herbal remedies," and okay, all right. So
They're like, this is America.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's I like that kind of like acknowledgement, but also like she does our what is our Brittany Murphy's character's name?
Ty.
Ty. So Ty also is somewhat stereotypical, but also not. Like there's some history. Like as she talks, she's got this New York accent. She's got a little bit of this tough girl kind of going on there.
Kinda, and then like if some moments, like if I close my eyes, I hear Luann from
From King of the Hill.
Yeah, so her accent was kind of a little bit all over the place.
Yeah, it was. But what it does is it gives us a history. So we know this girl came from a rougher part of town. She's probably run with a rougher crowd, and
But she has this innocence to her.
yeah. A little, but sometimes she's a little like
True.
she
Experience.
yeah, she plays the game as much as the game plays her. But I think she's trying to start a new friend. She's trying to start a new life, and she gets taken under the wing. Okay, so
We've skipped way.
we have
Let's go back to debate class.
Oh gosh, debate class.
This girl does not know what the heck she's talking about.
Okay, funny story. Alicia Silverstone did not know how to pronounce, so she says, what she say, Haitians or something,
No,
or
she
Haitians?
said
Haitians.
Haitians.
Haitians. So the director loved it so much that she told the crew, don't correct her, because she thought it was hilarious and it would be good in the movie. So that's the cut we have.
Oh my gosh.
So yeah, Alicia Silverstone, at her precious age of 18 or whatever she was when she was in this movie, did not know how to pronounce Haitians.
She can't pronounce Carpe Diem either.
Yeah.
I love that speech, though. It does not say RSVP on the Statue of Liberty.
Yeah.
What's funny is her logic actually makes
I think
sense.
about that speech a lot, actually, when there's one like I had this garden party, right? And people come that did not RSVP. I had to redistribute the food. It's like, it's not a terrible argument.
It fits into their modern life. Like
Yeah.
how
Yeah.
it would, yeah.
Well, and
Yeah.
what I love about this movie is that it doesn't. Our characters are not dumb.
No.
They are clueless.
Yes.
but they're not dumb. The
Their
lang-
vocabulary is impressive.
yes.
Yeah, it is.
And what I love, and this is what I love about this movie, because a lot of later teen kind of comedies or teen romance comedies or whatever, teen rom-coms or whatever we're going to call them, they wouldn't give their character, we wouldn't see that intelligence present.
Right.
They would be the stereotypical dumb, idiotic, stupid kids. This movie says, no. Well, I mean, obviously it's coming off of Emma. It's based on Emma.
Yes.
I think Cher is very stereotypical. Actually,
Well, yeah.
I think she's like blonde, airhead,
But the thing about the difference is that this movie allows her to
Valley
speak.
girl.
Yeah, well, yes. But this movie allows her to speak intelligently.
Yeah,
She does
and
have.
she reads.
she has moments. Yeah,
Yeah, well, so the thing, we're skipping all over the place. But here's the thing: when she and her and Ty are in the house, right, and she's like, okay, we're gonna do our workout now, and then we're gonna do our reading. So what we see is, she's fit. Like her figure and who she is not because she's like starving herself or like she works out. She like does her thing there. But then she says, okay, well, we got to read for school and we got to read for pleasure. What book do you have? Here's my book. So girl reads. Girl's a reader. This is not just an aberration where she's like, okay, we got to read a book now.
Or here's a magazine. I have Vogue. What do you
yeah,
have?
yeah. Instead of going that direction, they're like, no, she like women are from Venus, men are from Mars, whatever is the girl book she hands her, and she's reading something
Just
else.
very nostalgic for me
It
as well.
is totally.
Oh man, we could do a whole show around that book.
Anyway, back to where were we? So debate class.
Yeah. So before we jump back over there, this movie allows these kids to be smart.
Yeah.
And it gives us glimpses of their backstory and why they are so smart. As a language arts teacher, like the more you read, the better your vocabulary becomes. Totally. There's a reason why I'm able to come up with words because I've read a lot of books in my life, and I've internalized those words and I know what they mean because I've read it and then I'm using it. So like this movie, I love it because it does promote that, hey, be a reader, be an active student. Yeah, your speech in debate class, you might not have prepared all the way, but you were at least smart enough to go, I can make an argument in the moment that sort of makes sense and at least gets me a C. Like,
yeah.
I just love Amber's response. Like, how do I even respond to that?
And that's where you get like you're famous, and she throws up the W.
Whatever.
So this movie came out like right when I was in middle school, and the whatever that was. We did that all
what
the
they
time.
talk about in IMDb notes is that certain phrases that they invented in this movie became a part of the lexicon.
Like as if.
Yes.
That was another one.
Yep, that was another one. And so certain things like
Betty's and Barney's.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah.
Betty's the good look. Barney's are like the not so good looking guys.
Yeah.
What's funny is like in my communications class we had like worksheets.
Yeah.
And it had different slang words on it. And Betty was one of them, and I'm like, I know what that is.
Yeah. It's funny how movies and media can influence our language.
Or like calling Amber a Monet.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
made you laugh.
Because when you're at a distance, they look great, but when you get up close, they look terrible
And messy.
and messy. Yeah, I was like, well, Monet's dead, but that's funny because
That's funny.
not particularly.
Is Ralphing another one that came from this movie?
Maybe.
Possibly. Yeah.
Bugging.
Yeah, bugging.
Bug-
Dig
Bugging.
it. I used to say dig it
Dig it.
all the
Yeah.
time.
Yeah. So there's a lot that this movie inspired a lot of more romantic comedies for teens, and so that subgenre was big.
I feel like it definitely inspired Legally Blonde.
Oh gosh, probably.
Yeah, I can see that.
Absolutely. So good note. So Reese Witherspoon in like 2021 admitted that she tried out for this movie.
Wow.
Huh.
She's like,
I think they considered Angelina Jolie,
Yeah.
Gwyneth Paltrow,
Yeah.
a lot of them, who actually plays Emma, a modern version of Emma. Gwyneth Paltrow does.
Yeah. Yeah, so Reese Witherspoon was like, in like 2021, she was on a podcast, and she revealed, I auditioned, or I tried to audition for this movie. And
It wouldn't be the same. I mean, I love Reese Witherspoon.
Yeah.
She's great in Cruel Intentions, which came out in a similar time later, I think.
Yeah.
yeah, she's a different kind of character, different kind of actress than Alicia Silverstone. Alicia Silverstone can play certain things that Reese Witherspoon could never probably pull off really well.
Totally.
Okay, so we're back to debate class, and the teacher's just like, what am I even doing with my life?
She gets a report card.
Yeah, and she's
See
just
in debate.
see in debate. How is this possible? What she then does is she then tries to convince all the other teachers, and she does to get her grades changed. My favorite, and it's I think it's a double entendre. I don't know what's going on with it, but the geometry comments, nice shapes.
Yeah.
I was just like, what am I?
the 90s.
Oh, 90s humor. It's like, it's a little weird, but okay, I guess. So then she goes to every teacher and tries and manages to get all her grades
Except one.
except for her debate teacher.
She gets there.
Yeah, she does. She finally she gets it working. But first, like his integrity is just like, no, you got to do the
Yeah.
work,
And
kid.
that's the
So
guy
she's
from
like-
Princess Bride.
Yes.
Yeah. So she's like analyzing and going, okay, is he single? He's 47.
Right.
His job is rough.
Yeah.
He just needs to get a girlfriend.
Yeah.
Who can I set him up with?
And they settle on Miss Geist.
But the words they use for what he needs, I was like, wow.
90s.
Just thought I'd say it in a nicer way.
I know. Thank you. It threw me because I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a so
I had a lot of those moments in the movie of like, oh, that's what that means. Oh, that's what that means.
Yeah, there was no subtlety in this movie.
No.
I mean, there is, but there also isn't.
Well, it's weird, like watching it as an adult now.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, we'll get to it because we need to talk about. We'll eventually have to talk about Cher and her ex stepbrother.
I'm so mad at you for bringing this up.
That dynamic.
He thought it was weird too. I didn't care.
We'll talk about it in a sec. Okay, so she gets the grades up. Dad calls her out and is like, what's going on with these grades? Oh, it's just like the first negotiation. It's the first step in the
And
negotiation.
he is. I couldn't be happier than they're based on real grades, spoken like a true lawyer.
Like for real.
But I love their relationship because it isn't mean or angry with each other. They're just there. It's a negotiation. It's a conversation. They're working together. He works hard for her. Like, you got to figure that. They said the cost of her costumes, or the overall costume cost of the entire film, was $200,000.
Oh my gosh.
But
It was cheap for the time. They wanted the girls to look more like quote unquote mall rats rather than like designer, which I thought that's realistic for teenagers,
Totally.
Especially in that time when you just wanted to go to the mall and like, okay, express.
Yeah.
Where everything was super expensive but super cute.
The biggest cost was the opening outfit that she had in the beginning of the movie. And she got to keep it all. At least she got to keep all of her costumes and all of her wardrobe and that stuff. So where are we at now?
Well, we've totally skipped Paul Rudd.
Oh, yeah.
Beautiful.
Real Paul Rudd, not discount Paul Rudd.
Yeah.
From what's that? The Littleton
Switch to
movie.
Christmas, yeah.
So this is the real Paul Rudd, the official verified Paul Rudd. Yeah.
He had to be the oldest, right? Out of all of the teens.
Couldn't tell you.
Okay.
No,
You mean in
'cause-
real life or according to...
Yeah.
No, in real life, Dion was 29 when she filmed this.
Yeah. I was a little shocked at that one.
Yeah, she looks very young.
Well, this is
Yeah,
the
good
this is the
job.
beauty of those team comedies. Like, if you get an actress that you can dress and do makeup, you can make them look appropriately-ish towards that high school age if you work at it. And some people just have young faces or they have whatever. So that was
Like Paul Rudd.
Yeah, Paul Rudd. He's young. He's the ex stepbrother.
Yep.
So
Yes, only married to mom for like a couple weeks.
Yeah.
And then their marriage was annulled or
Yeah.
they got a divorce or
Yeah.
however that works.
and his mom is on his fifth
husband number
fifth
5,
husband,
yep.
And he doesn't want anything to do with her, which is why he's at the house.
And he wants to get like
He wants to be a lawyer.
work experience.
Yeah.
And he does. He shows working with dad. Okay. what
And he
happens?
and Cher are
does-
just like clashing.
He does the first creepiest thing because we just came off of them saying that they were
Right.
stepbrother and sister, and he
Yeah.
comes up and he like touches her and like makes a weird comment, and I'm like, ugh, don't do that.
Yeah, that was creepy.
Like where he tickles her.
Yeah, and
or he like pokes her and is like, "Oh, you're filling out there."
Oh yeah. You're growing into your face now.
I was
Oh,
like,
late
okay.
night.
You're making
All
a
right.
fat joke? And she doesn't. She just shoots right back. Just even pause.
Yeah.
We to take a small pause for a moment. The 90s movies are equal parts brilliant and equal parts
Offensive,
rough.
yeah.
Well, I don't even know if offensive, because so this is the dangerous thing. We've talked about this before. When you look at a movie through the 2024 lens, nothing is okay.
No, there's a lot not okay.
Every movie
Yeah.
is going to just burn. Like, you can't watch anything because
True.
it's no.
Also, you got to think like in the 90s, like everything back then was like gross.
Yeah.
All the commercials were like snot and
Yeah.
ooze and
Yeah.
Slime and
And the sense of humor in the 90s. So this is 95. This is 95. This is right in the middle of the 90s. So it had been filmed probably a year or two previously. So we're talking 90, 93, 94, 95 is when this movie lives in. Is people, and how do I phrase this without sounding like an absolute jerk? People didn't care. Like, okay, the joke of like, ooh, you're growing up. Like, people weren't as focused on that line. And I think why it succeeds and why this movie still has managed to be relevant is that's the extent of how far Paul Rudd's character takes it. We don't see any further behavior that kind of goes, ooh, that's creepy or that's weird or that. So that moment, I think, is kind of like, it kind of goes, oh, well, then they're friendly enough, but it's not creepy enough. It's not creepy, weird, but it's a little straight, like to Phil's point. Yeah, it's a little, okay, whatever. But it doesn't repeat. So that, I think, saves part of this movie. We will talk about Paul Rudd and Alicia Silverstone's characters' ages here in a moment. But where are we now with where we're at in plot-wise?
Well, so she wants to watch like the real world or like cartoons where he's like, I want to watch the news.
Yeah. and he's watching what's going on in the world and
He's
stuff like that.
CNN. She's like, you just got here.
Yeah.
Like,
Taking over everything.
Yep. So they sit and they watch and they talk a little bit. They do care for each other. Like they as brief as his stepbrother status was to her, he does show that he cares for her and he's genuinely like looking out for her and stuff like that.
Yeah, because now at this point he has to drive her around, or at least be in the car with her.
Yeah, because his dad told her you can't be in a car without a license.
Which is
driver.
called the law.
Yeah.
Not your punishment or whatever.
Yeah. That's how that works. Okay. What's next?
oh, this is the part where like Sora Gray's been changed, and she's like, I want to do more good deeds, and Ty shows up.
Oh, yeah.
Ty.
Makeover.
It's like,
Her
oh, we've got
projects.
to adopt
Yeah,
her.
she literally calls her project.
But for like if you compare this movie to Mean Girls, where they take the new girl and they kind of welcome her in, but they're also really mean. And this one, it's like, yes, they look at her a project, but they're trying to help her.
Yeah, they're
like,
actually
it's a more
nice.
sweeter nature.
Yeah, and
I
to
thought
Phil's
that was
point,
really
yeah,
cool.
you're both like they're kind. Like this is an unusual teen movie because there isn't the plastics.
Right.
And what I like about so Mean Girls is an absolute legit Oscar-winning nominated, like stars, like great movie. Like I'm not negating Mean Girls. This movie does it differently because it doesn't create that stereotypical plastic. Where in Mean Girls, they're absolutely plastic. They are stereotypes to the hilt, which makes it funny because it leans into satire pretty successfully, and you laugh and you enjoy it. But in this movie, it's like they're nice.
They actually like her.
Yeah. And they don't just drop her at the top of a hat.
Yeah.
They respect her. And she might be, she'll see like she looks at that boy and they go, oh, I don't know about that. And they say, look at them. They're not dateable material. They're like, you have to set your standards for who you want to be with.
Yeah,
I don't know
because
how
she's super interested in what's his name, Tyler.
Yeah.
At first, and Cher keeps pushing her away from him.
Yeah.
And like, no, you need to be with Elliot.
Elton.
Which he's a creep.
He's a creep too.
Yeah.
Oh, he's
I don't know how to tiptoe around this, but
Okay.
well, because how she's like talking about her interaction with Travis that
Yeah.
she just met or whatever, and they're like trying to distinguish the difference about doing this substance. Like there's a difference between doing it all day versus just at a party.
Yeah.
Do you see the difference?
Yeah.
But is there a difference?
Well, so what I think what this movie tries to do is it tries, and again, we have a filter of 2020, the lens of 2024, right? The particular drug that they're referencing is in this state legal for adults 21 and above. Other states have followed suit in 2023, 2024. In 1995, nothing was legal when regarding that. And so what I think this movie is trying to make the point of is like, because later on they do partake at the party, but Cher seems to make it, like you say, like she's like, no, there's a line. Like I will do it at a party within the safety of a crowd, but doing it every day puts you in a state. It puts you in a place. And we also have to, again, not to be
Gives you a brain cloud.
Gives you a brain.
good time
Joe
back.
versus volcano callback. Nice job, Phil. I like it. But I think what it's trying to do, because again, here we go. Scientifically, we're going to call this Science Corner.
Okay.
With Aaron, I guess. I am so not a scientist.
You have a science podcast.
We do have a science podcast. But we have Lynn. Yeah. We call her the drug lady because she is Lynn Reimer. She's a legit, like, one of the most amazing women I've ever known in my life because she is like, she takes down meth labs. She takes down.
But it threw me when Justina talked about it. And I'm like, who? What?
Yeah, she is.
What does she do?
Every single drug enforcement acronym organization department she's worked with and is like well known. Like she is. Anyway,
is she local? I've never heard of this.
She's local. Yeah.
See what I mean?
Justina's
like, oh yeah, it's just the
she
drug
works with-
lady. She brings brownies.
She works with. She works.
Special brownies.
No.
I'm just joking.
Here was the path.
We went
Here's
everywhere.
where you two just went.
I'm trying to get
But it was
educated here.
funny.
Where's my squirt bottle for Chris? Spray you both. Bad llama.
Oh gosh! Don't even go into the llamas.
So anyway, the point of it is that in 2023, 2024, so we talk about THC content and in the growth operations. The THC content and the potency of what is in the marijuana plant in 2023, 2024 is insane. It is so much higher per capita, per plant, per whatever, than it ever has been. So in 1995, the THC content
Very low.
very low, very less potent. And so with this, again, you have to remember in 1995, marijuana may have been like a thing that was talked about in movies, but it wasn't like legal at all, and it wasn't as potent. You didn't have growers artificially creating this intense THC laced plant that really does do significant damage to your development of your brain, because that's what Lynn talks about is why kids under the age of 21 you should wait until at least 23 or 24 before you start really going into that, because
Let your frontal cortex.
yeah,
develop.
that's where everything, and that THC, it's so thick and so high, it's going to impact your development. I apologize for
You
that.
made it funny.
I did. I made a joke. So in 1995, marijuana was not was nowhere near what we see today.
Right.
And so that's why it's treated, I think, in this case where Cher's like, you can just do it like at a party once a month if you want. Like, but to do like doing it all the time puts you in this funk, which in 1995 it certainly did. It was not. It was still potent, but it wasn't as bad. But it was it was more of a social behavior that you would take part in with groups, and that would then affect your ability to have a job and all that kind of stuff. Yada yada yada. So that's kind of the context. I think we have to remember that if you shot this movie in 2024, you wouldn't. Like, it would be a whole different kind of scene.
Right, yeah.
There'd be a whole different conversation about the drug habits of those high school teenagers, because you'd be talking about vapes, you'd be talking about Juuls, you'd be talking about all these other stupid things that they market to children.
I mean, come on, we had candy cigarettes. So
That's right. Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
But they weren't laced with THC.
That's true. That's true.
Okay, so back on the track. Back
Makeover.
On the, yeah.
Yeah.
So
For
the
Ty.
makeover happens.
All that red coming out of her hair. I
Yeah.
was like, that is so relatable. Like when you were dyeing your hair as a teenager.
Yeah.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah. So, they get her hair dyed.
Yeah.
Get it cleaned up, and she looks better. I mean,
Yes.
she was.
But you didn't recognize her until the end of the makeover, and you're like,
Yeah.
now it looks like Brittany
Yeah.
Murphy.
Oh no, I recognized her immediately. That laugh
Yeah.
that she does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
It brought me back and it made me happy.
Yeah, because we talked about Brittany Murphy before, because she's dead now.
Yes.
Yeah, she passed. It was it overdose? What was it?
It was. I think so. Yeah.
Okay.
Because
But-
there was that whole thing of like that movie that she was filming.
Oh, yeah,
that
yeah.
came out and they had to change the cover because they had her in a bathtub and.
Yeah, that was bad. I remember that actually
Why
on
would
Twitter.
you do
People
that?
were like, "Are you serious? This is what you?"
There are also some conspiracy theories, but
Oh, of course, there always is.
Kind of, I don't know, makes me think of, in a way, what happened with Heath Ledger.
yeah.
With his, like, when it happened with her, I was like, not again.
Yeah.
Yep.
So we get Brittany Murphy's remake. She's remade, makeover, and then
Yeah, they're exercising and talking about we need to increase your vocabulary,
Yep.
being a non-school book. And then Paul Rudd just walks in, and it's like he's shaking his head, but he also thinks it's kind of adorable
yeah, that she's
You
actually
found
not-
someone more clueless than you.
Yeah.
to listen to everything you say.
Someone to worship you. Yeah.
What is the word she tells her to use? It's like sporadic.
No,
yeah, try to
it's
use sporadically in a sentence, or what are you talking about? Elaborate more.
Yeah, like because she's like, you need to use this word in a sentence.
Yep,
Yeah.
sporadic means
Sporadic.
once in a while. Try
Okay,
using
yeah.
it as this.
yeah, and then she does it. at the
I
end of
learned that word from this movie as a teen. Like, oh, sporadic, okay.
Yeah, and she does it, and then she's like, "Yeah, good work." Gives her a thumbs up. It's like, oh boy. So where do we go from here?
Oh, they're back in school. People
Yeah.
are noticing, oh, she looks so great. And they're like, Travis isn't the best choice.
Yeah.
That group is
Elton.
good. Elton would be good.
Yeah,
I hate that guy.
I don't
And
like.
then- and they're-
Elton is not a good choice. He looks great on paper.
Here again, being clueless because during this whole beginning part, he's all over shit.
Yeah.
Aaron
okay,
actually
so-
asked
yeah,
me,
yeah, yeah,
if,
yeah,
like,
okay.
are they dating? I'm like,
Because
no.
she makes out with them, like they kiss, and like there's physical touching, and things are happening.
Because
I'm like,
Cher's a flirt. She's too flirty for
But
him.
I also see her doing like this
right?
Yeah.
when he's like, sorry, like trying to hug her from behind. She's
Right.
kind of like,
She's kind of holding him at arm's length.
yeah.
Well, so the thing about this is like that's why I asked. I was like, are they?
I
'cause
thought it was
they're-
really subtle, though, because you didn't catch up on it.
No, I was like, are they? They're kissing. They're making out. There's lip to lip contact here. Like that's you don't do that with a friend. I mean,
Okay, but like during the party when they did,
Friends with
she
benefits, I
clearly
guess, I don't
was
know.
like insulted him. Like, no, I did not want that.
Yeah, it's a weird one. He's almost in the background of a lot of scenes before we know who he is,
being
and
a
then
creep.
yeah, and then he gets pulled into the front, and I'm just like, that's the dude, okay, but it's not going to go well because he's kind of weird, and
Well, you can tell, but when the next thing is they're taking the little pictures.
Yeah.
By the fountain, and she's like way over here, and they're all over here.
And he's not including her at all until Cher's like, "Can you please
Put your arm around her. And,
Yeah.
rolls his eyes? Fine.
yeah, and our poor friend, our makeover friend, doesn't really understand what's going on. It's just very clueless.
Totally me, honestly, totally me in high school. Like, I know he's mean to me, but he's mean, but he's being nice now. He's cute.
Yeah.
It's totally me.
All right. So then, what do we got next?
The party.
They're still trying to hook up the teachers, and
They write the letter and the notes.
Yeah, and at this point they're like catch them out. They see them out in the parking lot kissing.
Yeah, and they're like, yay!
and she can't open her car door.
Because she's a teacher and she can't afford to get her car fixed.
Yep.
The struggle be real.
Does she eventually get in it, or does she?
No, you don't see her get in. She just keeps hitting it.
I think it looks like she's about to climb in.
It
like,
does look-
and then it cuts away, and I'm like,
Maybe she did.
maybe she did. Okay, there's an enduring mystery. I'm curious. Does that? But it's very cute because they're both obviously like their charisma and their magnetic. Like those two characters,
Adorable.
the actors, they really do it really well. Like you believe
Yeah.
it.
And then we don't see them anymore until
Yeah.
like the end.
Yeah,
when
true.
They get,
This
when
is
they
the
get
last
married.
time we see them.
Yeah. So
But they're becoming more lenient. Like
Yeah.
she doesn't have any homework on the weekends. She got her A
Your
now.
homework is to have fun.
Yeah. She has that little smile on her face. It's like, oh,
They're so cute.
she found a boyfriend.
And then we go to the party, which has one of my favorite scenes in it.
Okay.
So when they are partaking in the drug use,
Yes.
and Ty just starts laughing. Oh my gosh, that kills me. And they're
Well,
like,
'cause,
"What's
yeah,
so funny?" She's like, "I don't know."
Well, so what Cher does, she says, "Oh, he's looking at us. Laugh like I said something funny." And I love what she does because she doesn't just go, "Ha ha ha." It goes on for a bit, and you're just like, "What? Wait, are we gonna stop laughing now?" But yeah, it's absolutely.
She
hilarious.
does that same laugh in Just Married, and
Okay.
I love it.
And Travis is like, "What's so funny? Nothing." Okay.
All a performance for Elton. And then so they do. There's a scene where someone's throwing up into the pool.
Ew.
Yes. Like why? Why the pool?
Why not the
Where
Why
people
not
are
the
in there?
toilet?
Yeah,
Or
just
the bushes, I don't know.
somewhere else. But now, like everyone in the pool's like looking, like getting away.
Oh,
It's
they're
like,
backing away.
Yeah,
Ugh.
it's just kind of like that's gross. Why would you do that? And the
then-
friend's like, "Oh, it's okay. Keep throwing them."
Oh my god.
And then Ty gets knocked out.
Yes, she does with
A
the clog.
freak accident where the clog flies off, which happens.
Yes.
That's completely realistic. It just, it's a backless shoe and you're
Yeah.
kicking it up and woo.
Yep.
I've had that happen.
So there's a couple of moments where physical comedy is her thing, where she just hits her head.
She falls and gets hit several times.
And she's the
Yeah.
youngest. Like what the frick?
Oh, I love when they have her on the table and they're like, keep her conscious. Ask her, okay, what's 7 times 7? Stuff she knows.
And then she hits her head again.
Again.
I do like how.
rolling with the.
Yeah.
I always thought Brittany Murphy could sing. I don't know if she sung in anything else, but there's one or two spots in this movie where she sings, and I'm like, oh.
It's on point.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then later on, she says, "That's our song, rolling with the homies." And
Coolio,
she's like,
by the way.
she's emotional, like rolling with the homies. I'm like, oh,
You
Brittany
knew him
Murphy.
for like one night.
Yeah,
Come on.
but she plays
That's
like,
totally how teen girls are.
Yes.
You
but
have
she
her
plays it
songs.
so well. Like it's not satire. It's you. She really does feel like that was our song, and she does. And she's just this sad little memory. The memory of that. I loved it. I loved it so much.
Well, they play a game,
Well, no. Oh yeah. What's the game? Oh,
suck and blow, which I did play in high school.
I
but-
never did. Was not
Better
familiar.
than what's the other one? The
Spin the
Spin
bottle.
the bottle, yeah.
Ugh.
Didn't play either.
No, I
Zoe
missed out
played
on
all
that
of
one.
them.
I played all the games. Okay.
That's terrifying.
Well, so my house was the hangout spot, so all
Okay.
the kids were always at my house.
She had a cool basement.
Yeah.
Okay.
He knows. He's been there.
Okay.
Now I forgot my thought. What were we talking about?
The
Suck and
game
blow.
where
Oh,
Creeper-
okay. So everyone's doing it perfect, right? It's really not that hard. Okay.
Apparently, they had trouble in the movie though doing
Really?
it. Yeah, they all had to wear chapstick because they couldn't get it to work.
Anyway, Elton drops it on purpose.
Oh, it's
to
totally on
kiss
purpose.
Cher.
Yeah.
And she's like, eh.
Yeah, creepy.
And I'm like, he has a thing for her. He's trying to get.
Oh
her.
yeah, that's
he
that's
definitely
if
has
you
it.
don't know before, you know now.
Yeah.
He definitely has a goal. So then, what? Okay.
He
so-
makes it to where Cher has to go home with him.
Right. So this, I mentioned this to Vicki, and she wasn't sure. So the snowman that she gets in, it has a cord on it.
Yeah.
So I was like, maybe it's battery powered.
No, it was plugged in somewhere. So obviously we don't see the car pull away with
No.
it. But like I was like, because the snowman was lit up, had lights on inside of it, and when the door closed on the cord, I was like, that's got a cord in it. Vicki's like, oh.
I didn't think about that
I was
before.
like, yeah, that's
They might be like, no one's gonna notice.
yeah. No. I
Well,
noticed.
someone was carrying it throughout the party too.
Yeah, it was.
Battery powered, I'm telling
Yeah.
you.
So this whole back and forth where they're trading, what is her name?
Ty and
Cher back and forth, and then eventually,
And also Dion is
Yeah.
fighting with her boyfriend because
Yeah.
he shaved his head.
yeah.
Oh,
Get
yeah.
mad.
I'm gonna call your mama. Oh, don't call my mama.
Don't call my mama.
I'm
That's
keeping it real.
That's so
Keep
funny.
it real. That
Well,
relationship.
she's like, I'm gonna call your mom.
And he's like, wait, don't call her.
That relationship is so dysfunctional. We might have
But
to do it.
sometimes they're cute.
Yeah.
Okay, we might pull into counselor's corner here in a little bit to evaluate these two. So then eventually Cher gets into his car and he pours it on thick.
Oh my word.
It is
Singing to her.
very clear.
And not a good singing voice.
No. Not smooth, not debonair. Like none of this is good. And so she eventually says, "Get off me! I'm getting out of the car." He's like, "Fine, I'll see you later." And he takes out. She's like, "No, wait!" And I'm like, "Girl,
Oh, that was
late.
even as a teen. I was like, you just told him to leave, and now
Right.
you're mad at him.
right?"
Say
So-
what you mean.
Then she gets robbed.
At
Oh,
gunpoint.
gunpoint.
Yeah,
And has to lay on the ground.
yeah. But she doesn't count to the full 30. Or
I
whatever.
love it. 1, 2,
Two.
up.
Yeah.
Because he's already gone.
I mean, yeah.
And then she calls her ex stepbrother,
on a
is-
payphone.
who is making out with some girl that he's whatever.
And she's just upset that her dress got messed up.
Yeah.
Like,
I had to lay down on my dress. I'm like, okay, girl. All right.
It's designer, Aaron.
Designer. Right. Sorry. My apologies. So they're driving back, and there's some conversation back and forth. I don't think there's anything. I can't remember.
Oh, it's just some mumbo jumbo about. I don't agree with the way the professor's treating. It's not the garden of ideas isn't allowed to flourish.
Yeah.
And then she misquotes Hamlet, and Cher corrects her.
yeah.
I was like, I love this scene. So I was looking at Aaron the whole time. I was like, I know you know who says this line.
Well, and I love how she was very specific as to who said it.
I know Mel Gibson.
Yeah, I
He
know.
didn't say that.
She's like, I know Mel Gibson did say that, but she names the character that said it.
Yeah.
So again, this movie elevates our characters into places where, probably she watched the movie and didn't want to read the play for her language arts stuff, whatever.
Right.
But she tried, and Mel Gibson's version of Hamlet is not bad. It's a
I
solid,
liked it.
I mean, I prefer Kenneth Branagh, but
Oh, yeah.
Branagh's the man on Shakespeare sometimes. So yeah, no, she knows her stuff, and then
I think he's like slowly falling in love with it. Like you can see him
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah.
being like,
And he's amused because he's like, oh, she's right.
Yeah.
She showed you.
yeah,
and then he's like chasing her up the stairs to like say goodnight.
right,
Yeah.
trying to salvage whatever
Yeah.
it was, but clearly it's not going to be salvaged. And so then they go home. What happens
She
next?
realizes I gotta tell Ty what happened in the car, which is very decent of her.
It is.
Yeah. And so she does eventually share.
She does the next day. She doesn't wait.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Ty is understandably really upset.
Yeah. Rolling with the
Yeah.
homies.
Like
Oh yeah,
burning
she
stuff.
goes, was it my hips? And I'm just like, no.
But it's so like how teen girls think. We
Yeah.
always think we're more fat,
Right.
and we're not.
Was it
and
something that I did? It's like, no, girl, he's
it's
a
like
creep
if I'm too good for him, how come I'm not with him?
because he's a creep.
I was just like, that doesn't make sense. You're better than him.
Yeah.
So no, he's not on your level. Like
No.
But we also have to remember we're talking about teenagers.
yeah.
And there's a lot of what this movie does is it gives them opportunity to grow and to kind of realize certain things, which I
Yeah.
appreciate. Okay, so what happens next?
There's a brief commentary. Cher's like, I need to find somebody else, and
Oh.
then she gets distracted
The
by
man.
the new boy.
Who I thought was Jason Priestley.
Oh,
but
he
it's-
asked me, "Is that Jason Priestley?" And I was like,
No, it's not Jason Priestley.
"It's like, wait, look up what it actually is, but it's not Jason Priestley." Because that
What?
line comes up later in the movie.
Oh, he looks like Jason Priestley. I was like, oh, well, he does. They did a pretty good job of it. So this is the point where we get into the situation where Cher should have known that he was not playing on her team.
I even asked Phil, like as soon as he walks in, I'm like, What do you think about this guy?
Well, for me, I was like, this guy looks like Ian from Shameless.
Oh yeah.
And that was like, well, yeah, this dude is definitely he know like he the ladies.
Right. He's not. And what's interesting is that Cher is, I think, again, Clueless is the movie title, of course, but I think she's so desperate to find a good man that she hasn't had success. And the conversations have been about like, oh, are you a virgin, or have you experienced with men or whatever, with guys or whatever. And so.
And she's like, I'm waiting for the right person.
I'm waiting for the right person. And so then she...
Who is Luke Perry, which I thought was hilarious.
Yes. Yeah. I did like that line. I was like, oh, 90s.
Yeah.
I would have wished that they found a way to put him in the movie at
Right.
that point and be like, hey, it's Luke Perry, and then have him get hit by a bus or something.
Aaron, it's just not Final Destination.
But it could have been.
Well, I mean, heck, even in Mean Girls, someone gets hit by a bus.
Yes.
So, I mean,
That's where I was going.
okay.
Well, Cher does almost hit somebody on a bike.
She does.
That's part of her driver's test.
Yes.
Anyway, sorry, back to Christian.
So he shows up. And like she's just head over heels for him. Oh, he's so pretty, so nice.
He's like he's trying to be the old Hollywood star. He's trying too hard.
He's like playing a greaser.
Yeah, that's what he looks like. He
Yeah.
looks like straight out of Grease.
Yep. Which he does play the part successfully. He's got the lingo down. He's got the voice for
The
it.
car.
Yeah, he's got it all.
You were like,
Dig it.
ooh, a car, which is very.
Yeah. So he's got that going on. So she. Again, this movie equal parts gives them power, but also just shows us how sometimes teen girls don't really think through things. So she's like, yeah, I sent myself flowers. I sent myself chocolates. That's how I was going to show it.
I've never. Have you ever seen girls do this? Because I never have either. Like we don't do that. I'm like, what? No. Like, does that work? Should I do that? Or like, I don't know.
I thought it was
I
weird.
mean, I guess it worked, kinda.
Right, but it's in her repertoire, which suggests, I mean, obviously, she doesn't have a boyfriend. They don't speak of any previous boyfriends or relationships, really. So what that suggests is that she's tried that. It hasn't worked, but she's clueless and thinks that eventually it will. Yeah. So she just keeps trying it. But it sort of works, but then it doesn't because she finds out that the guy she's been working on doesn't play for her team.
No. But he does ask. He does kind of ask her out, or just to hang out.
Yeah. No, hey, we hang out, whatever.
Well,
he's like, show me
the parties. Like,
Yeah.
where is the party at? I feel like you're a party girl. Like, let's go to a party.
Yeah.
So
Where she's thinking it's like a date.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love the conversation between him and her dad also.
I like it between him and Paul Rudd. He just barges right in, like, "Hey, what are you here?" And he just takes the hat from him and slams it into. She's not ready.
Yeah.
That interaction makes me laugh. It's just like, stop.
Yeah.
Oh, and then he asked, what did he say? Something about a drink, and he's like, yeah, sure. Like,
oh, I'm cool, no thanks.
He's like, no, I'm asking you, do you drink? Like, I don't want you to be drinking and
he's like,
driving
what's
my daughter.
with you anyway? He just calls him right on it.
Yeah. He's confused. So then Paul Rudd is like, okay, I'll follow her. Like in
Oh, she comes down the stairs in it's very dangerous dress.
Yes. Mm-hmm. It's white. It's a mini dress. I think is the term.
You gonna let her wear that out?
Yeah. And he's like, put something on.
Like, and then she puts a
No,
shirt.
it's like what is that? He's like, what is that? No, my favorite line. What is that? A dress says who? Calvin Klein.
Yeah, who thinks that's a dress? Calvin Klein does. Oh Lord.
Well, I mean, he was very influential. They even bring up Marky Mark. I mean,
Yeah.
Calvin Klein commercials.
Yeah, Marky Mark's in code.
Yeah, but yeah, she put something over it, but
it's a
completely-
sheer. Yeah,
It doesn't do any good.
it adds nothing to the situation. So then they go to the party, and
All little Ty all by herself.
yeah,
Falling down the
Oh,
Who
yeah.
falls down the stairs?
I called it. I think I called. I said she's not gonna, and she did.
Yeah.
But I love Cher because she immediately runs over to make sure she's
Yeah.
okay. She's so kind to her.
Nobody saw it. This guy was up. Are you okay? Are you fell? And she shares. He's like, get away. Get out of here.
Like, you're not helping.
You're not, get away from me. Get out of here.
And then how she changes, how she's wearing this like cover-up shirt, like she has it as like a scarf on her head, and then like just weird.
Trying to look cooler.
Yeah.
well, in the way she's dressed, and this is you have to.
This is the outfit that made me remember that I've seen this movie.
Okay.
Because I remembered the pink shirt with the
Yeah.
overalls.
And like a little girl.
Yeah, it looked very youngy, and I think what Ty was trying to do is she's trying to present herself as like not her normal like rough edge. Like she's trying to be more innocent looking and like, oh, I don't come from like Brooklyn where I know what coke is. And like
they also have that shot where she's standing between two tall
tall
people,
dudes, yeah.
and you can't even see their head in the frame.
I love it. I love the comedy. It's just like you it's there for a second. And then they move right on, and you're just like, "That's funny. Like that's good humor."
But going back, you get your first indication. This is when you figured out that Christian,
when he goes to the bartender and he's talking to him really,
because at first you were like, you see a girl come up in there, and you thought that maybe he was going to hit on her, but then he pushes her away, and you're like, "Oh, okay." And then you went, "Wait, is he gay?"
Yeah,
Yeah.
So he and Cher is obviously clueless to this whole situation.
Well, I'm like, you're on a date. He just asked you for money. That should be a very clear sign that you're friends.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
And she's like, "Oh, he really values me," and I'm like, "Okay." well,
Ignoring every other girl, talking to the bartender
Right.
a lot.
And I asked Vicki, I said, "How long does this go on where she doesn't know that he's not playing for a team?" And she says, "Quite a while." And I said, "Oh my gosh."
Too long?
Yeah.
a little too long.
Yeah, a little too long. But it is what it is. So then we get to the end of the night.
Well, Paul Rudd saves
Oh,
Ty
yeah.
from being alone, which I thought was sweet.
Very sweet.
But Paul Rudd figures out that Christian is gay. And the
He's
look
like dancing with the guy
Yeah.
next
and
to
then he
Cher.
stops moving and he sees it and he's like,
and the look, I love how Paul Rudd pulls it off because it's a realization you physically see on his face to go,
oh. In case you haven't figured it out yet, that
well, and he was going to protect Cher, and he's and that the second part of that expression is, "Oh, I've got nothing to worry about."
Yeah, like,
She's gonna be fine.
she'll figure it out eventually.
It's harmless. This is the easiest babysitting job ever. So he hangs out with Ty and tries to engage her and be nice and give her a good time. And she starts to fall in love with him now.
Oh, that pissed me off.
Yeah, because she's younger than Cher by a year.
Right.
So but again, Paul Rudd doesn't engage it. He doesn't like give that credence. And I think the thing for Ty is, so she got Elton didn't like her. Christian Cher has found her Christian, which no one knows he's whatever yet. And so
Can't be with Travis.
she can't be with Travis because that's not because he's still doing drugs.
Yeah.
And so the next best thing is this cool dude who shows up, who she knows it's obviously the ex-stepbrother, but that's a positive male influence. And we'll slide into Counselor's Corner for a second. That's sometimes a situation that develops where like girls will latch onto that because they've had such unpleasant and not positive male involvement in their lives and experiences. And so when suddenly someone shows genuine interest and cares, they're going to go, "Oh my gosh, you're amazing. That's what I'm going to lean into." And that's unfortunately that's not how it should go.
Yeah.
Like,
And I think there's an extra layer of like, well, and this is also like my best friend's like brother-esque.
Yeah. So there's that trust there.
Yeah.
But it's also like, oh, he's kind of cute. Like,
Yeah.
oh my gosh,
He's in college.
He's in college. He's super smart. He knows things, and he's able to talk to me. And he took time out. Like, yeah, she's gonna have that kind of like, ooh, shiny. But I think Phil, you said it, or you both said it was kind of creepy that happened. This movie dances on the creepy line, and it doesn't quite lean into it. But it dances.
Well, and it's at the very end because then you know how old she actually is. And then I'm like, wait, he's older than her. He's in college.
Yeah.
She's only 16.
Yeah. So
I guess the Romeo and Juliet law. I mean, if he's only 18 and technically that's not.
Right. It's there's I Googled this and there was a couple of articles like why this is problematic, and we'll get to where I think on that here in a little bit. So they then So Ty is like, is she the one that's laying on the thing?
Yeah, she's falling asleep.
She's falling asleep.
Like
and
everyone has left except for Christian, who's dancing
dancing.
around a
Still
circle by
dancing.
himself.
Yeah.
Oh, they're gonna keep playing the radio this for hours after. You want to leave?
They're going to the after party. I got the deets on the after party, and Glory, Cher.
Like
like
singer?
the singer. Do you believe?
In life after love, yes. So they're like, oh no, we'll go. Okay, cool. I'll just stick around. And again, Cher doesn't really seem to understand that like her supposed boyfriend crush isn't going home with them, isn't willing. So they go home. I think Paul Rudd takes him home.
Yeah, Josh is like, I'll take it.
And then this is a cute little moment because
Yeah.
they're like going to pick up takeout for her dad because they're working hard at home.
Yeah.
They have this little exchange that's really cute.
Yeah. So but it's wholesome. I think is what. So as the movie tap dances on that creepy consideration line, the wholesomeness that this movie leans into helps balance that tap dancing.
Yeah.
For me, at least, as a viewer. And again, looking at the movie through the lens of 2024 is dangerous because it prejudices against what we know of the 90s and the 95. So yeah, they go that they pick up the food and stuff like that, and I have no idea what happens next.
What does happen?
Christian calls, and he wants to bring her some movies.
Yeah, he
Another
wants to just hang
sign.
out.
Yeah, gonna hang out. And so she goes into full planning mode, invites her friend over to help her with her outfit. And she's like, so this is the moment, my favorite moment of the movie, where she's like, and you have to have food for boys, so you have to bake. And so she just stands
Oh,
up
yeah.
and just opens the thing and boom, and I'm just like,
It's like the Pillsbury dough, how it's like from a can. It doesn't even break it apart, just plucks it down.
throws it in there, turns
Now,
it
I
on.
do completely relate to the moment where her friend's like putting her makeup on and she's like so red because she's like freaking out.
Yeah.
That was me.
Yeah.
I feel that so hard. And you can't cover it because you're like,
Yeah.
You're
freaking
flushed, yeah.
Yeah, you're flushed and you
Calm
can't
down,
stop.
calm.
Yeah, your body is telling you.
Yeah.
Yeah, and she does look flushed. I think whatever they did to make Alicia Silverstone flushed like
Look
that,
natural, yeah.
Mission accomplished. So he shows up. They hang out.
Something burning.
Something.
Oh, it's as black as coal.
So she's like, "Oh man." So then they're watching the movies or whatever he brought over.
Spartacus and some Like It Hot, I think.
Yeah, some classic movies.
Yeah.
So she tries.
But clues, actually, to
She-
what's going on.
Yeah. So she tries to flirt with him, and he figures it out.
Like, bye.
But that's not before she does the classic falling on the floor.
Part.
I love.
I love like when she's like rubbing her foot on his foot and he like looks back and he like grabs the pillow and just slams him down on him like, nuh-uh, don't do that.
We're friends.
You're giving me the ick. You know?
So then she falls off the bed and he's like, "I'm gonna go. I'm out. Bye."
Yeah, I gotta.
But then
bounce.
he's very sweet. He's like, we're still friends, right? Like,
And she still is not picking up on this. Like he's friend zoning her basically, and she's like in another whole universe, going, "Oh, we're still that's a great. Oh, okay, all right." So then he leaves.
yeah.
Yep.
And then the next day, Murray
talking
is
to
just
Murray.
like, dude, how do you guys not know?
Well, so they're driving. This is the highway scene, right?
Yes.
This
Yeah.
is the precursor to the highway scene. So they're driving. She's like, "Woman, you," and admittedly, she calls out. She's like, "I don't like when you call me woman," and appropriately, yeah, he shouldn't be calling her woman. Like that's not a call her and give.
He says something. He said he had a really clever comeback to that though.
Yeah.
It was. I wish I could remember.
Like, it's
it,
a
but-
sign of endearment on the streets, and like, I'm not being like,
Yeah,
not
he's
like, I'm not
misogynistic.
being
Yeah.
And my
misogynistic,
response was like, "Well, you're not on the streets, buddy. Like, get out of the streets and into."
You're so a teacher.
What's that song? Get off the street into my car. It's a totally different meaning, but like, get off.
What? I've never. We're
sounds
both
creepy.
lost. Yeah.
No, it's a. Oh my gosh, it's
Now
a
you're-
song.
Get off the streets. And it's just like a pickup line that I don't want.
No,
I desperately tried to make that work. It didn't.
it did not work. It did not land.
Well, you know, mission not accomplished. I'm gonna find it real quick.
Okay.
And then you'll understand. We're gonna take the time today to explore the music of the I don't know, music.
Vicky's
This
like, I hate
voice-
this
I
voice.
hate this voice so much.
Get off.
I never listen to the end of the podcast.
Get
because
off.
you have been listening to it. No, I never do.
Get off the street.
Don't like them.
I don't blame you. It is a thing. Like, yeah.
Oh, I don't remember what the song was called. Into my
Just
car.
Google those lyrics.
Into my car. Yeah, no, sorry. Get out of my dreams and get into my car. Hold on, I'm gonna turn it up.
Oh, that doesn't make it any less creepy.
No, it doesn't. Copyright.
So the song is "Get Out of My Dreams" and like. Anyway, that was the attempt, and it's fair use. So we only use a short amount.
Oh
of that.
yeah.
Yeah,
Cool.
we're fair use. So, okay. So he figures it out. It's like, and she's like, "What's wrong with him?" And he's like, and he laughs. out loud.
Yeah,
like,
he's
Like, you've been trying to go out with who?
and he's like, he's gay. Like, he's not playing for your
No, but what is the term he used? Because I have never heard
A
that.
cake boy.
Cake
Yeah, like
And they're just out what? Because
So
they don't know either.
I think that might be, hold on. Let's educate ourselves on the use
Make
of that
sure we're
word.
not being super offensive.
I mean, I understand that in the context of now because cake is used as a certain thing.
oh.
But in the context of
yeah.
in the 90s, I don't know.
I think it just like implies that he likes.
Okay, are you ready for this? Here we go.
It's not good. I don't think.
Derogatory slang dated
Yeah.
a young. Oh no! So according to the Wiktionary, it's a young metrosexual male. Now that may not be the case in the
But
90s.
that's different than
Yes, it
Yeah,
is.
that's
Well, Urban Dictionary might be.
Yeah,
the
so
definition out loud.
so I'm guessing what they did is they adapted it in the movie for to call him like to start that conversation.
Yeah.
And probably again on the streets, how he on the streets. Which
Get
is-
out of
which-
my dreams and sorry.
Yeah, and get out of my car. Just get out of everything. So he probably was. That's what he would use as a pejorative slang term towards whatever. But he basically said, no, he's gay, and they're like, no, he's not. And then
And
but
Dion's
he
like,
does
well-
he does like this, and he's really good at this. And she's like,
he
"Man."
does dress better than me.
He does.
And he does like to shop.
Yeah, and so again, these are very stereotypical things associated with gay men or homosexual men, whatever. But there is truth. There is some truth in that. There is a lot more fashion interest and understanding of those kinds of things. There's a reason why there's like television shows, Queer Eye for the Straight Guy.
Oh, yeah.
Like there's that's it's there, which is there's no shame in that. Like that's awesome. I would love to be able to know how to do fashion well because
well, and it's like that's why he wanted to be friends with you because like
yeah.
that,
Yeah, you were fashionable.
Yeah.
You were a with it girl. Like
Yeah.
whatever. So now
Deanna's not been paying very close attention to the road.
and she gets on the
She's
freeway.
and they freak out.
oh my gosh,
It is a
total
full-
panic. It's so funny.
It was.
Yeah,
I
it's
was.
just chaos.
Semis, motorcycles,
Yeah.
old ladies being mean.
Yeah.
Yeah, the old lady flicks her off. Now that's funny.
Yeah. It is. It's amusing, and I just go, oh, that's special. So then they get off the highway.
And they stop. Like, get off the road.
Yeah, just stop this. Okay, what happens next?
Well, they have this loving kiss, and then that's where she's like, well, I want a man.
Yeah.
Still, obviously.
Yeah. She's still searching for that one man.
Yeah.
Which is the Emma correlation that we're running parallel to the Emma story.
Yeah, because like in the original book, Emma's very happy being single, doesn't want to get married. She's like, I'm already rich. I have what I need. I have respect. I don't feel the need to get married.
Yeah.
But that starts to change.
Yeah. What happens next?
Doesn't she fail her driving test?
But before that,
Yes.
there's an incident at the mall. She's actually hanging out with Christian as like just friends, hanging out at
Yeah.
the mall. And
Oh, yeah,
Christian
and
says,
ties.
"Is this James Dean or Jason Priestley?" Which is a line I thought of when.
Oh,
Aaron
and then they
was
hold
like,
the girl over the thing, tie over the edge, and she's genuinely scared.
Well, as an adult, as a teen, I was terrified. As an adult, I'm like, "What are you thinking?"
For
Yeah.
real. Because those guys looked older.
Yes.
Like,
Oh,
not
yeah.
in high school.
Yeah. They're definitely. So then, obviously, our Jason Priestley lookalike comes and saves the day.
Yeah.
And then, obviously, at school, oh, she got attacked by gang members and blah, blah, blah. And I think this is where what's her name? Ty.
Ty.
She is playing this game, and she knows what she's doing. This is not I'm clueless. It's no, I am playing this.
I'm the popular one.
I'm
now.
the popular one now.
Yeah,
And
here's
she's-
right before you die, your mind becomes very clear.
Yeah.
And everyone is glued to everything she says.
Yeah.
Cher can't get in a word, and she knows.
Yeah, she's figured it out, and this is where we taught. Like Vicki was like, this is where Cher doesn't. She loses some of her luster because she does get a little mean and a little. But what I love about this movie is they allow that to happen, and then later on in the story, Cher and her they figured out. They go, I was terrible. Let's never do that again.
Yeah.
And you're like, done. Job signed, sealed, delivered. Moving on.
But now that I've seen it again, I think the saddest part isn't Cher losing a little bit of luster. It's Ty when Travis comes up.
yeah,
'Cause she's always like
she
to-
dismisses him.
But
Yeah.
I think that's what leads him to the
Do
12-step
program.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually hadn't thought about that. You're right. Because he realizes like, no, she doesn't have time for me because of my druggie. Because she was first, I want you because of this. And so that kind of leads him to go, oh man, I want a woman. I'd like to have a relationship, but I got to get myself clean. And so he goes to a 12-step program. So Cher eventually she goes into the fix everything mode and gets the whole donations, talks to her teacher.
But before that, she fails at
Fails her
driving
driving
with
test.
flying colors.
Yeah.
She fails so hard.
You can't
Well, and
switch lanes. You can't turn right.
You almost killed someone.
Yeah, he's like the audacity that she thinks she's gonna get her license.
He says, "Get out of the car."
Yeah.
Which that kind of, I wonder if that would happen if you were that bad.
I suspect that because it's her car,
Yeah.
and I think at drivers in most, my impression is that they have a vehicle that you test on. You don't test. I mean, I tested my vehicle.
Me too.
But
I did as well, but I was in a parking lot. I wasn't
Yeah.
in full traffic. Like
we went on side streets, we went on main streets. That was the whole thing. But I think now possibly they may have a vehicle. It depends on where you go, I guess.
Probably.
But they have probably to do an inspection anyway. So yeah, she fails it. He's like, no, get out of the car. So then she
She goes back all sad.
Yeah, she
And
goes-
Paul Rudd and Ty are hacky sacking,
Yep.
which is also a very 90s thing.
yes,
Very flirtatious. And she's in victim mode. And she's, well, you're just going to tell me. He's like, no, I wasn't going to say that at all. Like, okay, well, you can take it again, can't you? I think he even says that, something like that. He's, yeah, you can take it again. And I think, is this at this point where Ty and her make up?
No, Ty
Ty
tells her that
tells
she's
her,
in love with
yeah.
Josh.
Oh.
And that's where they both spiral, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nothing good comes of it.
She says something really mean to Cher.
Remind me what she says?
She's like, well, you're a virgin and can't drive.
which is what. Here's what's ironic about that. During the time of the film, Brittany Murphy was also a virgin who could not drive.
Could not drive.
The irony.
Yes,
Dynamics. So then
It makes Cher realize that she likes Josh.
yeah.
she realizes who she's really in love
Don't
with.
you love that moment when she comes by the fountain and then it just lights up
Yeah.
and she figures it out?
I love Josh.
I hadn't thought about that, actually, to be honest. I was like, oh, okay. Yeah, there it is. So she does. And it does give us like a montage of their moments, and they're wholesome moments. Like
Yeah.
there's nothing vastly inappropriate going on in these scenes, but she's realizing that, yeah, he spends time with her. Like he's not like trying to give her the cold shoulder. He's hanging out with her. He's giving her his time, and she realizes, oh my gosh, this is the man that I should be seeking. So let's take a small detour for just a second. She's 16 years old. She says that after she kisses him at some point. She says, I'm only 16. And Paul Rudd, I think, is probably either college freshman or probably maybe sophomore. Maybe. But I interpret it as a college freshman. Like
Yeah, because he's still in the dorms
yeah,
and like.
still in the dorms.
To 18, 19, I guess.
Yeah.
So this is where things, when we look through the lens of the 90s, and then we try and do it through the 2024s, there's a very big difference in how this was presented.
Yeah.
It was uncomfortable to me in the moment to go, ooh, that's a little weird. I think the weirdness for me was that it's her ex-stepbrother. And because I asked her, I was like, wait, because I picked up on that and then I forgot about it. I was like, wait, he's her brother? No, stepbrother and ex-stepbrother. Okay. Still strange. Still a little bit different.
Well, in Emma, it's her brother-in-law.
Oh, okay. I wish they would have done that. Yeah.
Yeah, so like there's a whole nother like scandal to it. So like in the novel and in Emma, it's her sister and like his brother are married. So it would be like Nate and my sister.
Okay.
It's basically like that dynamic.
Okay. That's not the end of the world.
But that is
Right.
another layer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then
So they're trying to like make it modern, I guess.
yeah.
Well,
They're only married for a few weeks.
yeah, it's fine. Everything's fine. Okay, no, it's not. So those two pieces, I think, probably will, to Phil's point, give people the ick a little bit.
Well, you just don't want to hear brother and sister, like anything in the same type of situation like that.
Right.
When you think about it, like, stepbrother, like they're not
And
actually related.
Stepbrother, there was
Yeah.
divorce. Like, they're no.
And they weren't even together very long anyway.
And there's even a
It's like-
conversation in the movie of like, Josh, you are not my brother.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I don't
Yeah.
see you like that at all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're well, because legally he's not.
Yeah, I mean-
but you're still hanging around. And even I think her dad even was like, why is he like, what is he still? Okay, well, he works. I guess he's
Like
doing.
you can go to the party, it's fine.
Yeah, yeah. So and I think Dad was trying to get Josh to like protect his daughter because he was so busy and he couldn't.
I
I think Dad's matchmaking actually.
Yeah, because there's a little.
There's a look.
Yeah,
You're right.
there's totally
you
a
are
look.
right.
I think he
does
knows.
once Josh leaves. Dad
He
kind
would
of
be
goes,
good for my daughter.
Yeah. Better than that other guy.
yeah. better than anybody she's
Like,
dated
is there
so
room in
far.
the? Are you trying to get in the Rat Pack? What are you doing?
Yeah.
What's with the hat?
For real.
Yeah, did Sammy Davis Jr. die, and you're now in the new Rat Pack? I love that line because the Rat Pack was a real thing.
Yes.
It was Dean Martin, Sammy Davis Jr., and a bunch of other dudes. Sammy Davis Jr. If you ever want to watch something amazing, Sammy Davis Jr. And his role in All in the Family. It's an epic television moment where Sammy Davis Jr. shows up to Archie Bunker's house, and it's fantastic. It was a very big moment in race relations and race conversation. Archie Bunker's was a very interesting character. Anyway, complex. Rat Pack aside, we'll move on to the next thing. So then, what happens next?
Well, Cher doesn't know what to do around
She doesn't know how
Josh,
to act around him now, but she is in love.
which I thought was
she
an
tries to,
amazing
like,
thing to
better
show in a
herself.
teen movie.
Yeah.
Totally.
How realistic.
Yeah, she does try to better herself.
She gets involved with the fundraiser.
Yeah,
at the
and she
school
starts saving. So this is where this 12-step program
Yeah.
and Travis shows up.
I just love when they're watching TV and he's
Yeah.
like, "Why aren't you like trying to make me watch the real world?
Yeah.
like we're watching the news.
Yeah, she's like,
I want to know worldly things."
I don't know worldly things.
I love the moment when she's getting all the stuff and her dad's like, I don't think they need your skis. Dad, some people lost all their stuff. Don't you think that means athletic equipment?
Yeah, she's like donating half of their house.
Yeah,
You don't like the red caviar, right?
And Josh is over there just smiling. He's like, this is your influence? Oh.
Sorry.
yeah. And then she takes a lot of stuff. Like when you see that room of all the stuff she's collecting, there are boxes on boxes
Yeah.
on boxes on boxes.
I get in that mode sometimes.
Yeah.
You'll know that where I'm like, all right, well, you haven't eaten the stuff in a while. I'm
Yeah.
going to donate it to Rising Up.
Yeah. So it's an interesting kind of moment. And so then she, what happens next? So her teacher's like, oh, really good work, great work, good job. What?
Oh, we go to the skate competition that Travis is in.
Travis
yeah.
invites her.
And that's where they make up.
That's
Yeah, and this is when Ty falls back in love with
Travis, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They should have been together the whole time.
Yep. So that's taken care of.
Well, I don't know. I feel like they both needed to grow.
Well, true.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's funny how you like meet the person you're supposed to be with
Yeah.
in the very beginning, and then you have to go through all these
Yeah.
things to
Yeah.
like get
you
back
gotta
to
you
them.
gotta get there first. So that's when Cher sees that she's falling in love with Ty, and she's like, "I'm clear, we're good, woo, let's go."
Yay!
She's the sign, the light is green. You may pursue, and so she goes home.
Well, she's helping them with the disposition lawyer stuff,
Oh yeah.
and she messed up.
Yeah, she messes up.
Oh,
Yeah.
she didn't know.
I know.
Yeah, it wasn't her fault.
Yeah.
And
But this guy,
He's rude.
Well, I think he sees what's
I'm
going
taking a
on,
sick day.
and he gets mad. He gets mad that he's flirting. Like he can see the googly eyes going on,
Yeah.
and there's a moment where I'm like, oh, is he going to be cool about it? No, he's not going to be cool about it, and he just goes off.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think she's like, I'm worthless.
well, then he just says, oh, just go back to the mall or something, which is kind of a big insult.
Yeah.
yeah. So then Paul Rudd sits next to her, and she's like, oh, I'm worthless. And I don't remember what happens next.
They
kiss.
Oh, this is the kiss where she's like, I'm just 16, whatever. You know, in her head, she's kind of going through it.
Well, no, she says the 16 thing because the next thing is it goes straight to a wedding, and she's like, "No, it's not us. I'm only 16."
I thought that
she's
was
like,
really
"As
funny.
if."
As if.
And
We're
it's-
from
and it's
California, not
the-
Kentucky. And I'm like, "Whoa,
I know.
whoa."
I forgot about that because it was so jarring to hear that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it rushes into the scene. And I was like, oh, okay, whatever that was. But now when I'm like, whoa, that's a deep dig.
Yes.
So it's our teachers getting
So our
married.
teachers get
Yeah,
married.
teachers getting
Yeah, and
married.
she's a bridesmaid.
Yeah, it's so cute and adorable. But yeah, so I think in the scheme of the 90s, the dynamic between her and him and this age separation, because it's not played for laughs. It's not played for. It's just there. It exists, and I mean, if you're going to take this movie to task from 2024, you are not going to have a fun watch. Your viewing experience is going to be very tainted. It's
Yeah.
going to be rough.
Well, because they talk about being PC a lot in this, and then
Yeah.
they're not very.
Yeah.
Well, they're not on like one particular thing, and
Yeah.
then all the other things they are.
Yeah.
It's just so ironic.
Yeah.
Like the use of the R word so many times really.
Yeah, that's valid.
Like, hit
I
me.
noticed that.
Yeah. So the word
And
we're
I
talking
said like, oh yeah, the 90s.
the
you're
word
showing.
the word we're talking about is obviously unacceptable, but it's retard. And in the 90s, that word was used a lot. Yeah. Oh man, you're just acting like you're eating whatever. And it was not the way it was meant was not intent. The intent of it was not meant to insult folks who are. But that word has significant power. And as we've grown in our culture and as we've grown in whatever, that word has become pretty offensive. And so in 2024, it has weight. It has meaning. And it's important not to use that word pejoratively or otherwise. Because we talk a lot about folks in that situation. We talk about them being more like developmentally challenged or they have a condition or whatever versus using that word in the pejorative because we've grown a little bit as a culture. We're still growing, and that's the beauty of it. But yeah, it does come up in this movie a little bit.
Because they said that virgin isn't PC, but they're saying that other word.
The R word, yeah.
I'm just like, make that make sense.
Yeah. Pick a lane, movie. Pick a lane. But so I think for you, if you go and watch this now in 2024 out there, listeners, and that's the important thing. We've talked about this many times on this podcast. You go and you see a movie that isn't made from today, you need to be ready to be kind of go, I have to be okay with this in the way that it was presented at the time that it was made.
Totally.
Yeah.
Now, in 2024, we would not make this movie. You would not use that pejorative term. It would be an entirely different movie with entirely different content. But I think it's important to know that, hey, movies from the 90s, never mind the 80s or the 70s or the 60s, you're going to find stuff. You're going to be like, what is this? Well, time and a place.
Yeah.
And is it okay? No, but in that time, there wasn't an awareness to the particulars of what they were doing. And for the most part, and to be clear, there are some 90s movies that are offensive. Like, boy, you notched that thing up to 11, pushing it to 12. But this movie doesn't. It's not patently offensive.
Yeah.
It's not malicious in its intent. It doesn't lean into stereotypes like other movies do. It is a soft touch in all that it does, which is really nice because you walk out of it going, you know what? Yeah, a couple of moments of like, but overall, movie's timeless.
Yeah, and it does represent the 90s, like fully.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it's a time capsule. There's no question about it. But it's like it's very rare that I get through a movie where I'm just like, I don't have any issues. I'm like, okay, well, like this movie is like, I enjoyed watching it from start to finish.
Yeah.
And that was like, that's unusual. Now, that's because it's more of the modern films that I have to put myself through. And so it's nice to find a movie that's just like, you know what? Yeah, that was really good. Like, I would own this movie. Like, I want to watch this again. Like, it's a fun one to just kind of enjoy. So we'll go around.
Just saying a lot. I mean, this is one that you're like, oh, I guess we're going to have to watch Clueless.
Yeah, but you
laughed a lot.
Yeah, because I think it's that idea of like, oh, man, it's a teen romance, teen rom-com, and my image of those is the later ones that we got.
Fair.
But this one has substance to it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting that this movie has interesting parallels to She's All That, which is the Freddie Prinze movie.
True.
And that one is... that one's offensive. That one hits a couple of buttons, which I don't think we'll actually watch that one because...
oh, let's not.
There's the pizza scene is just like... Whoa. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about.
Oh, yeah. I remember
Because
that
that's with Amanda Bynes?
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, actually, this is Rachel something or other.
Lee Cook.
Yeah, Rachel Lee Cook. Freddie Prinze.
Oh, I'm thinking if She's the Man. I'm
Oh,
sorry.
that was fun.
I'm sorry.
She's the...
That would be problematic, probably, too, to watch.
I have never watched She's the Man.
Oh, it's good.
And I'm pretty sure it's a parody of a Shakespeare.
Oh,
yeah. I
like
think
12th Night or
12th Night.
Yeah.
12th Night.
It's actually pretty good.
It
Aaron.
is.
Okay, well, you know what? Amanda Bynes is current. I think she's still in conservatorship. I think she's still.
Yes, but she is becoming a manicurist, and I am very proud of her. Go team.
Okay, so she's working on herself.
Yeah.
Full background on Amanda Bynes. She was a big star for a long time, and then when we talk about Counselor's Corner again, mental health issues often don't present in full spectrum until you're like 22, 23, 24. Worst case scenario, 25. For Amanda Bynes, that's exactly what happened. Her mental health went full bore, full throttle in her late 20s, early 20s, and that nobody knew what to do. Like it was unheard like in that moment. So she got placed under conservatorship. She actually got, I think, even placed in a
She was in a mental hospital.
She's in a mental hospital for some time because they were trying to figure out what was going on because she had just gone from this to that, like boom. But again, post that they figured out, oh hey, this is what we should have been looking for.
But also there was some who knows what went along on the
Trauma is real.
Nickelodeon set.
Watch Quiet on Set.
Please
I'm
protect
almost
our
done with it,
children,
yeah.
especially our young actors and actresses.
Yeah. So what we're referring to is there's a what I don't know who did what
Quiet on Set.
Yeah, Quiet on
But
the Set.
I've known about the Dan
Schneider.
Yeah, Dan Schneider.
I've known about that.
Oh, that's been well documented. There are
for
YouTube
years.
videos regarding his script writing and what he covered and,
And
what
he, the Amanda Bynes show was his first
for sure.
show. And
Yeah. So Quiet on the Set is a show that basically talks about child actors on Nickelodeon specifically and the manner in which they were treated. And they had been teasing a surprise guest, and no one knew who it was. Yeah. And when it was announced that it was Drake Bell, it was like the world stopped. Because they were thinking, it's just like a second-rate actor, or maybe like one of those ancillary character actors, whatever. No, this was Drake Bell from Drake and Josh.
So sad what happened to him.
This is not a simple small like heartbreaking and terrible. Like people were like this. It was real, and people were aware of the realness of what was going on. But when Drake stepped forward and said, "No, this was me, and this is what happened. I am now speaking." When that trailer hit, when his face was revealed, people were like, "Oh no, we regret." It's that moment of going, "Oh no, oh." So it is a rough show to watch. It is an emotional show to watch. I haven't started it because I'm gonna have to be in a different headspace to do that. But Zoe's right. Our child actors and our child performers, and you come from that world a little bit with your previous experience in singing and being a part of a family band and stuff like that. It is an issue that still needs to be fully dealt with and addressed.
I mean, you got to think all their parents were there, watched all. I mean, not the behind the scenes stuff happened, but like
they weren't as present as they should have been.
Yeah.
So
and gosh, Drake's dad
he
tried so hard.
Yeah.
That one really broke my heart.
he got alienated from his son because of what with the protection that was they were trying to protect. Like anyway, there's a lot, and there's my unfortunate piece of that is, so I love Boy Meets World. I love that show, and I love Girl Meets World, the new show they made. Unfortunately, several of those stars sat on the offender's side and wrote letters in support of him at the trial. Yep. And so they in a recent podcast they said, we are ashamed of what we said and how we said it. We shouldn't have done it. We were, I think they were like 27 at the time, and they're like, we were 27. And part of me is like, you're
almost 30.
You knew.
I knew better at 27.
You knew. You should have known better. But So they tried to kind of be like, we shouldn't have done it. We were believing in him when we should have believed the victim. And at the time, the victim's name wasn't disclosed.
Yeah, because he was a minor.
He was, he was John Doe A, or John Doe number 1, and so they didn't know who it was. Yeah. All they knew is, their friend, this guy that they've known for years as a part of the Hollywood industry and the child performances star industry, that they trusted him, and they thought, well, he's the right person, but in classic Hollywood fashion, you shouldn't have believed him because it was bad, and it's the impact and the I don't want to call it like the continuing collateral effects
damage
of that show of Quiet on the Set continues to unfold as every day there's a new story about somebody who was involved or had a piece of that.
And what's even crazy is like some people from Disney, like people from like That's So Raven and stuff are kind of teasing like we're waiting for our NDAs to expire so we can come out and tell our story.
Oh no.
NDAs do not protect anything illegal, people.
Yeah.
If you sign an NDA and they're asking you to do something illegal, you can full on ignore that.
But some
NDA.
people, like when you're a child, you're so scared.
Ask a lawyer though. I'm not a lawyer.
Yeah.
And I think the problem is that like you're talking about some of those stars like That's So Raven, like they still need that work in Hollywood.
Mm-hmm.
And
for me, it seems like it's almost every child actor that we've known has had some type of story about this. And
I mean, even Macaulay Culkin with Michael Jackson, like all that stuff. I mean,
allegedly, because he never got convicted.
Right.
But then you got like Corey Feldman.
Yep. There's a lot
from law school.
So we talk about protecting kids because I'm a teacher. Zoe is a school counselor. Vicki is a teacher. we talk about how important it is, and we as a country and as a culture, we got some work to do, because the issues that were spotlighted in Quiet on the Set and other documentaries about this kind of subject, I think we've got more, and
it's not just TV. Like this is something, I won't say where, but this is something that you and I had to kind of address. Yeah. In like our circle, like this came up. Yeah.
So that's just kind of a gentle nudge. If you're of the viewing age to watch the program, you should invest in sitting down and taking some time. Don't just try and do it on like a Thursday afternoon. Like, be ready for some weighty conversations and some weighty discussions. Because
and like I never, like I watched all that and like Snick and stuff, but a lot of the Nickelodeon stuff was like after my time. But the Drake stuff, that still hit hard. Like that's a rough story.
And then after he got convicted and everything, they hire him for The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody, which is Disney.
I can't even.
So it's
rough. There's no easy answers, but there is at least a piece of the justice and a piece of that story is out and is in the loop, and people are able to examine it and be real about it. And nobody has really stepped up to defend the individual who did the actions. They've just been like, "Oh God, I'm so sorry. I shouldn't have been a part of this."
Nope, we shouldn't have.
And it's like, okay, well then take that lesson to heart and let's get the rest of it taken care of. Let's keep this outrage going about this particular piece of stuff. So there you go. There's our gentle conversation about something at the end. But it's not, I don't think it's going to go away. I think this show, the premiere obviously happened this last week. And the subject matter and the conversations continue.
I mean, it's all over social, like that's flooding my social media completely.
It's there. So that's the important thing, is be aware of that kind of stuff and be aware of why that's important to not let that pass.
And trust your gut always.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. All right. Well,
are we going to rate?
Yeah, I think we should. Clueless, I would give it a 9.5. There's a couple of things where just like the issue of age and those kinds of things. It's
different watching as an adult,
right? I mean, and in 2024, like it's a very different experience. So I'd go 9.5, but I would say definitely in my top 50. We probably should start building those lists individually.
So we keep a written record.
Because as we go through these movies, we're gonna find movies like, oh my gosh, let's go to number 1, or let's go to number 2.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. All right, so Vicki, what do you think?
10 out of 10.
Okay.
Great movie and a really great remake.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I watched later. Was watching the Jane Austen movies, and I watched Emma, and it was amazing for me to watch and be like, wait, Mr. Elton, like Elton and Clueless, and that's when I found out that it's based on the remake, and really well done.
Yeah. Phil?
I'm probably going to be the lowest one here.
That's okay.
I'm going to give it an 8.
Okay.
It's just because, like, it's not a movie that I would personally seek out to watch.
Yeah.
Except to see Brittany Murphy.
Yeah, which I have done before.
Right.
Then I've never watched it again up until now. So there you go.
Yeah.
I mean, it is a good movie.
Yeah.
Objectively, it's a good movie.
Yeah.
But
when 20 years have passed, there's going to be some things you'll be like, ooh, I don't know how I feel about that. And you're allowed to feel the way you feel.
Sure.
Like that is an absolute legit
I mean,
reaction.
I got the lowest score of all of us with Joe versus the volcano.
Yeah. Fair. It's a masterpiece.
Stand by what I said.
It's not. At least it's not like a Monet where it looked great.
Far away is okay, and up close is a big ol' mess, right?
Yes. That's a new rating. If we ever get a movie that really is just a disaster,
and we thought it looked okay from a distance.
But Pinocchio didn't even.
No, that's not even.
Oh
a
my
Monet.
gosh! They even bring up Pauly Shore in this, and
that line of Pauly Shore.
I was like, why haven't we talked about that?
Oh yeah.
There's no meaning in Pauly Shore movies.
I was like, that's not nice. Like the in-laws. I love the in-laws.
Yeah.
I would give it a 10 out of 10. It's classic, as they would say.
Yeah.
And I mean, I still say a lot of those terms.
Yeah.
Even today.
Yeah.
So I know I'm old in that, but timeless.
Okay.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. All right. Well, I don't know what we're gonna watch next time.
Are we gonna do the JoJo Rabbit? I'm kind of excited to see it now.
Okay.
Now that I know that.
So we will put that on the list for. Well, yeah, we have a 4-day weekend next week, so we have some time to probably watch it and process it.
Have you guys been able to see to part 1?
No.
I guess. Curious.
But they are doing apparently a double feature at the Brush Theater.
Okay.
So
Okay.
There you
I've
go.
already said I'm not doing. I'm not.
Well, I'm
going
thinking about
for
it.
6 hours for a movie theater.
It will be a lot
Sorry.
if you choose it.
That'll be a lot. All right, so we're gonna set ourselves up for Jojo Rabbit. If you're out there and you're listening, we'll have a preamble on the next episode as well. Jojo Rabbit covers it's a satire, but it leans in heavy. If you're out there, you can do Google or go on YouTube and search the two siblings, Jojo Rabbit, and there's a lot of spoilers. You're gonna see parts of the movie that'll spoil it, but I would be more encouraging to do that and then watch the movie than to go in blind.
Okay.
Because it is intense. There are moments in that movie when I watched it with the two siblings watch along where I was just like, oh, geez. Oh, I would not want to watch that alone without having the context of what I know. So my encouragement to our listeners, if you're going to watch Jojo Rabbit with us and be ready to have that conversation on next episode, watch the two siblings, Jojo Rabbit on YouTube. It's a video. It's like 45, 50, 60 minutes long, but they're Jewish. The two siblings they're Jewish, and this is an interesting viewing for them because they're going in and there's stuff in there that's like flagrantly, obviously Nazi, and Taika Waititi plays Hitler to a hilt of not wanting to basically be the Jewish guy, and he says he played Hitler because he's like, screw that guy, I hate him, and I'm gonna make fun of him, and that's how I'm gonna win. Yeah. And it's satire, but it is not all satire. So be aware going into this movie if you're gonna watch it along with us. I would start with the YouTube video, and then I would pursue the movie. But yeah, we'll do Jojo Rabbit next week. We will have a lot of preambles, and I suspect we're going to have some conversations, some pullouts with Counselor's Corner.
Oh, I'm sure.
Because it's...
At least you know it's coming. I
Yeah.
feel like he just throws it at you.
Yeah. Well,
It's fine.
It's Zoe's professional. Like she's a
It's true.
counseling.
That's true.
She's a counselor. Mastermind's not the right word, but you're like a counseling ninja. Like
I love it.
You're a counseling
I
ninja.
love it.
Okay, I want a poster that says that, or a
Counseling
sign,
ninja.
or
Okay,
whatever.
I'll put it-
Counselor Ninja.
Yeah.
Putting it on a list.
Okay.
There we go. All right. Well, my name's Aaron,
My name's Vicki.
I'm Phil.
And I'm Zoe.
and this has been Clueless from 1995. We'll see you on the next one. Thanks for listening, folks.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
The raspberry flapovers will be out in a moment. The kitchen is closed.
You've been listening to the Nerds by Screenlight podcast, presented by Create at Morgan Productions, located in Fort Morgan, Colorado, USA. For more information on our production house, other podcasts hosted here, and further details, please visit www.createatmorgan.org. You can find us on Twitter at the handle CreateAtMorgan. Create at Morgan is a school club at Lincoln High School, our alternative education campus in Morgan County. Our sponsor is Aaron DeLay, the language arts teacher at Lincoln. Send any feedback to adelayedteacher@gmail.com. Thank you for listening to our podcast.